I forgot to actually turn to the title page, but what the fuck ever.
Oh no.
Oh no, you have to look at Joker looking fucking suave. That's what you get. And I demonetized this, I just realized. Good job. Good job, me.
Maybe. We don't know. We don't actually know. Listen, sometimes YouTube gets on us, sometimes they don't get on us. We'll have to see if somebody complains.
Alright, where the hell am I in this game?
I have no memory of this place.
I really don't.
Let's see. You're in... I know where you are. The problem is I don't remember what city that is.
This is Kyoto.
Okay, yeah. So let's just playing Strikers.
Yeah.
I tweeted the thing to make sure I'm directly pointing at myself. One small issue with my new pop filter is that it does completely obscure my actual microphone, so I'm like, am I actually dead on? You could just speak into the top part of the mouth. But yeah, we seem to be going. Hi, how you doing?
Heyo. You have to
How's
get
things, Cat?
I have completely forgotten how to play this game, so I am not as cool as I could be.
You know, I was gonna say smoosh button, but we talked about this when it came out. P5S is like actually, you know, a pretty decently in-depth game considering it is basically a Muso type title.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it is still a Persona type title, so they lean a little heavier on the RPG type stuff. You kind of checkpoint. So it is not necessarily just smoosh button. You can still get obliterated. Also, Axe, you're not really here late at all. We're like literally less than 2 minutes in.
Honestly, we haven't even reached the actual time, Axe.
Yeah, no, we just started early because we're cruising. So we're all here early. Anyway, speaking of cruising, that's not a good segue, but whatever. This episode is brought to you by our patrons like Adam DeHarbaugh, Comics Architect, Tanwell G, Carlos Dragon Ferris, Jeremy Vasquez, Justin Fay, Jonathan Sandoval, Legendary Boss Hunter, Liam Kessler, Regent Raptor, Rise of Kenji, Rogue Robin, Trevor, Sean Pryor, some guy named Bob Sargent, and Bear the Crow. If you like what we do and want to see us do more, consider supporting us on Patreon. It helps us out. You can access episodes early. You can save Lucky's knees. Support us on Patreon.
Axe, what lies are you actually spouting? You guys start in 20 minutes? I don't think we've ever started more than...
That is a gross exaggeration. You will not gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss me, Axe, on this. No, no, no. We like to start, like, 5 minutes before the scheduled time, usually, sometimes with some dead air. If only because Lucky and I are both usually pretty punctual people. So we'll sit around for like 10 minutes before it's go time. And then usually about 5 minutes in, we're just like, hey, are we all set up? Let's just go. Why are we waiting? Let's go.
Pretty much.
If you're talking about what happened this Monday, where technically I scheduled the Great Ace Attorney stream 30 minutes before I usually do it. And... you know, about 30 minutes after Lucky usually likes to start his streams when he's in the driver's seat, you know, cutting a healthy middle. That is technically true. I did start that like 30-ish minutes early. But also, we streamed for 5 hours and 40 minutes, so...
Jesus fucking Christ.
Actually, was it like more like 5:45? Let me actually double check. It was nearly 6 hours, and that's just the first case. It was long.
It was very.
We'd really appreciate it if you would go watch it, because we went pretty whole hog on there. Yeah, 4 hours, 5 hours. I don't know why I keep saying 4. Maybe because I want it to be 444. 5 hours, 44 minutes, and 01 seconds. So yes, 5 3/4. So yeah, nearly 6 hours on case 1. It did get way more views than normal that I'm not sure about, but sometimes the stuff is chaotic. Yeah, it's a good thing we started early, because I knew the first case was long, and I knew there were some breaks in it. Somehow I forgot there were 2 to-be continues in the first case, which is a lot. It's a lot for an Ace Attorney game. I've talked about this with some people. I think it's because usually with Ace Attorney games, the intro tutorial case is usually a chump case that's really easy to solve because it's supposed to be a tutorial, and like it's not usually connected to the overall plot. Great Ace Attorney doesn't really do that. Everything is kind of a little bit part of a meta plot. Like, even our first case got this thing attached where it's like, well, if you fuck up this case, your good buddy Kazuma won't go to Great Britain.
You're like, oh no!
Sorry, I tried to...
Oh, Omega is dying. He tried to become fish.
I know, I'm still trying. One of these days, I'll get gills. Oh, wow, okay. Sorry, I'm drinking water pretty hard because my parents were out most of the day on stuff. Family things. I think I talked about this yesterday a little bit while we were faffing. But that means I had to go outside and pick up the mail, and it's, 86 degrees, allegedly.
Very hot.
Yeah, so I'm still a little, like, hot and prickly from just walking outside, even though it was in relative shade. So I've been trying to stay hydrated, but try to be a little too hydrated. But yeah, I think, if I remember rightly, I think, Lucky, this was your suggestion, but I think we're going to stick to it. If we hit a second to be continued at any point during a case stream, we're going to call it.
Dungeon rings.
That was...
I'm pretty
sure that was still, like, only, like, 4 hours in, too, or, we had, like, a good hour and a half after that second to be continued. We could have worked it. And I talked about this. There is bonus content because the actual export version has all the extra shit from 2 games worth of stuff. So there's, like, extra episodes and things we can, like, little fluff story bits we can do to fluff out time if the case is too short.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not, no. Fish have it worse in the ocean. Also, I should clarify. It's not like I really have thalassophobia. I just have a little bit of thalassophobia. Like, the beach is cool. Beachside water, fine. Small islands, fine. Open water, not fine.
I'm pretty sure I've actually done this part before. I must have fucked up something and died or something.
Possibly. Yeah, as usual, there's a boss fight at the end, so... Maybe you got exploded and had to reset.
I might have. It's just looping me. So I guess I will escape looping. How do I go back in?
But yeah, so please go check out Great Ace Attorney. That'll be our Monday stream series for a while.
Probably a long while.
We have actually committed to reading all the lines with voices and stuff.
We try.
And yeah, you talked about how it hurt your voice a little bit, but you went full send with the old man. I'd argue pretty full send with the sergeant too. Nasally thing. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. No, sir. Yeah, no, I tried.
Yeah. So we tried a little. And it's obviously, it being nearly 6 hours, it's not going to be consistent.
No.
Like for Kazuma, I tried to go for a little bit of a deeper pitch, kind of a Dan Green doing Yami-Yugi thing. Ryunosuke, believe in me, who believes in you. But when you're doing that for nearly 6 hours, your accent will slip a little.
Yeah, no, I definitely noticed I did that a few times, going through things.
Yeah.
Oh, pleasure.
Now, technically, because there are even some, like, voice samples for characters, I probably could have done Ryunosuke with, like, I think this went through, like a London-based localization, like some other games, so could probably have done it with, like, a slight British accent. I could have done my Harry Potter type voice impression. We'd all die by hour 5. But I have a lot of lines as Ryunosuke. He's the main character, so I'm like, no, I'm just gonna do him as like my normal speaking voice, but maybe with more energy, because we got to do a lot of line reads.
I enjoy doing all the line reads.
Yeah.
Like, again, I talked about it like that. This is my first This is my first Ace Attorney game. This is my first Ace Attorney game, and I did not understand how much I would actually get sucked into the fucking case. Even though it got convoluted as fuck. Jesus.
Yeah, that's really what Ace Attorney is about. It's about the melodrama. Like, it's a courtroom drama for realsies, so everything is that intensity. You know, with the dramatic music turns, big string section, all that stuff. The wild gestures, the 3D models are great in Great Ace Attorney. Though there's a lot of amazing sprite work in the games that were still 2D. So, like, it's pretty cool. Like, I expected you would enjoy it, because it has that, like, real dramatic spark to it. And I even talked a little bit before we got started that, like, if you try to treat this as a realistic legal simulator, it won't work, because actual court cases, when you get to court, they're not dramatic. All the drama probably comes from the preceding investigation and, like, all that stuff. Maybe you'll get, like, a dramatic statement from a witness at the time when you didn't think they were important, but there's no surprise evidence, no surprise witnesses. Generally, everybody knows what we're working for. So this is, really hyped up and extra. So, like, you'll have to make sure you can get your grasp on your Susato voice next time, because now she's going to be a major character. Which is why I did not want to do that voice, because I realized, shit, I'm going to be all three of the primary characters. I'm going to have to talk to myself constantly.
Yeah, that's one of the things I think we had a little bit of issues, like trying to figure out who does what, who does what.
Yeah,
what
we didn't really have a script. We just kind of bandied back and forth. One of us will have to also be Herlock Sholmes, and it should be whoever can be the most extra. World's greatest consulting detective, Herlock Sholmes. It's probably not. Would we be more punk? They got voice samples, but I don't necessarily want to try and be like the actual actors they got.
I might. Well, it depends if I like it. God, I literally do not remember what the fuck I'm doing here. Let's see here.
Everybody plays slightly different.
Whoops. Oh well. Okay, that's how I dodge.
We talked a little bit about Great Ace Attorney, and Lucky is currently lost Gandalf in Stranger.
I don't know if that's what anyone else calls it, but when I say I'm going Gandalf, that means I'm going back to something I haven't done in a long time, and I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah, I think you said that yesterday or something, and I was trying to remember, and then I immediately thought of, because I feel like you're one of the few people I know who actually uses that, like, image or gif of Gandalf in Moria being like, I have no memory of this place.
I was like, I like my classical memes.
Yeah, it's a good one. Oh, that reminds me, we were talking about the meta plot. We kind of missed this because of the localization. Somebody mentioned it in chat, but we didn't really bring it up. But or at least I should probably say that, yes, in Japan, the name of the victim in the first case is Dr. John H. Watson.
Oh, really?
So it's supposed to be like for an audience to be like, whoa, dude, Watson's dead? What the fuck? We skimmed over that a little bit. Some people mentioned it in chat, but I don't think we went out of our way.
Yeah, no, I remember someone mentioned that, but I kind of forgot about it.
But yeah, no. So there's supposed to be a little bit of the extra drama, even in the first case. That's why I say that, like, everything in Great Ace Attorney is kind of seems like it's connected to the overall plot. I do think a little bit of why the first case is so long is because it is still a tutorial. It is very hand-holdy. Like, there were a couple of times when you and I were both, and especially, I should point this out, Lucky just said this was his first Ace Attorney game. Mm-hmm. So, very new to this stuff. But we're both, like, ahead of the game, like, okay, that piece of evidence we just got, we need to examine it. That's probably the source. And there were still some red herrings. I don't actually think the glass that she stole mattered other than just in general.
Yeah, no, like, I thought it was going to be some sort of red herring. I mean, not red herring, some sort of part of the diabolical scheme, because It's one of those classic poisoning tricks of the liquor wasn't poisoned. It was it was the thing you drank out of.
Yeah.
And the fact that she stole it. But no, it was just her to hide her involvement and everything. But it came back, and it was just like
yeah. It was part of her general cover up. It wasn't. Oh yeah, no, yeah. This is the boss fight. So if you realized you solved some of this stuff before, you may have gotten creamed.
I think
this is the boss arena.
It is. It's a mini boss arena. I'm pretty sure I have to break 2 of these statues to go further.
I'm like, this is definitely like a boss or something. Because it's a rectangular area in a Musou game, so.
Actually. So, Big Shogun. No, sorry. I'm just thinking about. Calamitous Cat God.
To your question, X, the proper name of that character is the woman who outwits Sherlock Holmes is
Irene?
Yeah, Irene Adler.
Yeah.
But that's not anything to do with Giselle Brett. Which I'm not sure I know what exactly they were going for. Oh, okay. So her Japanese name is Giselle Bullet.
Giselle Bullet.
Yeah. And I think the name is after there was a rifle called the Giselle.
That does sound familiar, actually.
Which was used in the Afghan Wars, which is where Dr. John Watson was injured, so.
There's layers.
Yeah. So that's what they're going for. It's, it's supposed to be named after the rifle, but sound a little weird. And then instead of Bullet, they went with Brett. Which sounds a little bit like Beretta. We should check in the etymology of the Beretta company. Well, because Bullet's not a real name. I think the general idea is we try to avoid on-the-nose things. Because they did alter some of the localized, Japanese names, but still kept, Ayesa Nosa and Aido Nosa is, that's a pun. Kurio Kurekta. Collector, but they still changed the phenome so it sounds real. Even Prosecutor Ouchie, as in Prosecutor Ouchies, because the localized version of his descendant's name is Pain. They keep a lot of the wordplay, but they try and make it seem more appropriate. Giselle with 2 L's and an E, and then Brett is an actual name. And honestly, remembering the name of a Giselle with 1 L and no E is that was a rifle in the Anglo-Afghan Wars. How many of you fuckers knew that? None of you. There's 6 of you. None of you knew that until I told you. Don't you lie to me. Show's over, everybody. But yeah, that's just all the localization. You keep the feel, but you can move the stuff around. And we'll see this, I think, with a couple of other, characters coming up in the fun one. The next one will be great fun. I'm excited to get there. Some of us may have to do a Russian accent.
Oh. Well, the thing I am going to say about this is I've never been actually particularly good at accents or voice acting, and I do relish this chance to work on it a bit. Work on my speaking ability.
Anybody who's listened to our APs knows about our occasional bouts of Omega's accent theater.
Oh, yeah.
Which also is very often punctuated with, where the hell is my accent gone? This character sounded like one thing 5 minutes ago, and I've lost it. Anyway, die, Cat Shogun.
Let's see here. Bless Amp. Let's see here.
When the bless is amped. He needs to remember what skills do things in a Persona.
Mm-hmm.
いや俺じゃないあっちだ
確かに光ってるな。何か意味がある。
こいつが道を塞いでた像と同じなら
おっさん推理とかできんだな
But yes, so Greatest Journey was great fun, and we'll get back to that one.
一度引き返す。
But we should have a humdinger of a show, though,
スキル使い
because
すぎたか
it
も。
was quite a busy week in terms of the newses,
前みたい
I
な。
believe so.
things, the games, the stuffs. Where do we want to start with that?
I mean, wherever you want. I guess, and as I'm playing, you're gonna usually take the lead in conversation. I will just try to.
Okay. Well, then I'll scratch Ace Attorney off my list. Sorry.
Yeah.
And readjusting my microphone. I am speaking into it. Hopefully I sound okay. Then technically the first thing on my list, the stuff that happened earlier, was that this would probably just be a brief one, but there was a new Pokemon trailer for Scarlet and Violet that dropped. As usual, the internet was set on fire. Literally every time a Pokemon character is shown, the internet will be there to be horny.
I mean, that's how they do.
And also, I mean, to be fair, who can blame them if you watch the trailer and see our new professors? For Scarlet, you have Professor Sada, who is, literal savage Unga Bunga woman. She's wearing a lab coat and then, like, a cave woman costume. Like, fur-torn clothing and stuff with midriff. And I'm just like, what do you know what you're doing at this point? Pokemon Company, Game Freak, you know what's up.
本当にさっきとか。
And then Professor Turo, the other side of it in Violet, just looks like the Giga Chad guy.
片方の狐だけみたい。
And he's wearing, a future bodysuit.
オーケー。
They showed some legendaries. They look cool. Some people are like, yo, you're going to be able to ride them like a motorcycle. And I'm like, eh. Apparently, everything is supposed to be more open worldy, a little bit like Pokemon Legends and some of the areas of Sword and Shield. Not so much strict division between routes and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's apparently going to be up to 4-player inherent co-op features. You go online and hang out with your friends. I kind of hope that's not too overemphasized, because while there is obviously now like Switch Online, I personally have always thought some of the like excessive socializing mini games in some of the past Pokemon titles have been a little annoying. But if it's just like, yo, when you go to the open world, you and your friends can, cruise and stuff, that's fine. That's, a cool feature that's relatively modern.
じっくり見てられないけど。
Seems nice. They showed some new Pokemon designs. Lechonk
綺麗なところ。
was immediately popular,
元々名のある
both for its name and for being a
夜に参
small
拝
pig
すると
called Lechonk.
こんな
Chonka.
全部終わったら。
So, obviously, people, the Pokemon fandom is very weird. I've talked about this before. Like, apparently, people were like very harsh about like Sword and Shield, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck you were talking about. I loved Sword and Shield. I was perfectly fine with it and its game design. And I know some people were talking smack about Sword Wolf, and I am like, you're dead to me. Never speak to me again. Sword Wolf is the greatest. How dare you? But I do know that because Pokemon Legends Arceus was like really popular this year, a lot of people were hoping that we could get a little bit more motion, a little bit more swap up. And it does seem like, yeah, they are actually doing some different things. They're playing around. Some people are still like, the graphics, and I'm like, this is on the Switch, motherfucker. Shut up. Also, you know, Pokemon games were literally 2D for a long time, and that was actually, like, you know, really cool and stuff. Like, I don't know. That's one of those things where, like, I like graphics, right?
Mhm.
I like games to look pretty. You know, there's a lot of experiences to be had. But games can be cool with just an art style. Like, you don't have to go ham.
No, that's unfortunately the world we kind of live in. That always kind of. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Excuse you all. I don't know exactly where it came from, but there has been there's this definite attitude of everything has to be the absolute best all the fucking time, or else it's absolute shit.
Yeah.
You see literally, you know, I'm gonna bring up this old grudge again, but anytime anyone brings up, you know, why things should be on PC, what is the number one reason why they fucking bring it up? It's not because it's not because of anything about the game. It's because then they could tweak the settings to be literally inhumanly high. Literally
yes,
inhuman.
I believe those people's problem is what we call the sunk cost fallacy. They've bought a very expensive computer with a lot of jupu and RAM, and they want to be able to use it. And I don't blame them for wanting that extra spice. But they got the spice. Well, I mean, eventually you have to buy a new computer anyway. Like, trust me, there's plenty of games I can't run on my computer, which does decently good at work. Though I've heard GPU prices are leveling out, so I will actually be shopping around for those this year.
Like, believe it or not, like, if you think your PC lasts longer than your console, you're lying to yourself.
Yeah, it really don't. Well, I mean, like, yes, technically your computer does probably have a better lifespan than a console, just in terms of, like, the software and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of actual programs, no. The software gets way ahead. And, like, it can go both ways. Like, yeah, some games can be held back. We're going to talk about State of Play later. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. But it happened, you know, a little bit later in the week, some of this other stuff. But, like, some of those games still say PS4, PS5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're back last gen. Other games are like, no. We're going next gen only. And that probably means that regardless of what they're on, they're going to be a little beefier than the next gen versions anyway. Solo versions will be a little beefier than the previous version because the developers will not be trying to meet certain hardware skills. Guess what? If you're on PC, like PC exclusive games, a lot of times developers don't give a shit about the low end of that, right? Like, they're just gonna be like, nah, fuck it, you need some stuff. You got some stuff, you're fine.
It's why there's always everyone always gets so mad whenever PC ports come out. They're always saying it's optimized badly, and we're just like, well, yes.
It's because they have to optimize it for a lot of different hardware settings, guys. This is the, we've talked about this before at length, but this is the blessing and the curse of the PC marketplace. Like, yes, PCs are very moddable. They tend to be very variable. You've got a lot of different standards, and if you've got access to the highest standard, you can crank that shit up way higher than on a console. Conversely, your stuff is also all over the place, and, you know, your developers don't know what your exact hardware standards are, so they have to kind of compensate. They probably have to kind of, like, haze it out. Like, I always, I shouldn't say always. I don't see it a lot these days, but it used to be, like, in the previous decade, a lot of times when a new game came out, people would immediately be like, okay, what GPU is this better on? Which one is it more optimized for, you know? Is this better on AMD or NVIDIA, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't usually hear that so much anymore, but that used to be a big selling point between the two, and guess what? You would sometimes find that a game was not necessarily optimized to run with one particular company's brand of product because probably they were working with the other guys. It's just one of those weird things. It's like, you kind of got to expect it that way. With consoles, when you know, Sony hands you a PS5 dev kit, they are like, hey, you can be reasonably certain that, other than, you know, swapping the SSD for a third-party compatible model, you can be reasonably sure that every PS5 that runs your game, whether it's digital or disc-based, will be like this dev kit. And so you can get pretty in there. And honestly, while I think part of it is a monetary move, Generally, I think PC ports of PlayStation, like Sony exclusives, have been pretty good, right? Like, I don't think I've heard people complaining that God of War is like badly optimized or Death Stranding or anything.
No, now that I think about it, no, I haven't think I've heard anything.
So I suspect that the fact that Sony keeps those exclusives in their back pocket for a year or two, because this is partially relevant because they announced that Spider-Man is coming to PC in the not-too-distant future. And yeah, some people did dig up some old Insomnia quotes where they said it will never not be on PlayStation. That was admittedly 5 years ago, so they're allowed to be wrong. They can change their mind.
I'm about to say, they can change
because it's not their... Sony changes, fine. But, like, the fact that it's been a little while probably means that whoever is responsible for the port has had plenty of time to polish it, as opposed to the classic issue with releases everywhere being unpolished. Like, you know, Elden Ring's PC port was hit with a few rough edges. It's because the developers are trying to develop, you know, everywhere all at once. Mm-hmm. And that's where you get your goofiness, because they're spread too thin. But yeah, like, I personally, every time somebody is about Pokemon, to bring it back to that original where we started on this rant,
yeah.
Every time somebody is like, the Pokemon graphics, the models, literal PS2, I'm like, dude, I was playing this game since, you know, seriously playing this game since the Gold and Silver era on the Game Boy. Do you think I give a fuck? I don't care about this series to look good. I'm used to this being like 4 colors. The fact that they have 3D models and they don't look like shit, which they don't. You do not sass me. I like I said, I've watched decent amounts of like people talking about modeling and rigging and shit. Pokemon models are perfectly fine. Judging by all the fan art, they're okay. They know what's up. Like it's perfectly serviceable. That's one of those things that's never gonna be relevant to me, is if you shit talk the models look bad or something. Like, Like, honestly, I feel like the only thing you're going to get out of that is that at one point Game Freak is going to be like, or Pokemon Company, or whoever actually would handle that decision is going to be like, all right, fine, you keep trash-talking the models, we'll stop trying to be 3D. HG sprites, motherfucker. Works for Square Enix. And yeah, I understand, like, if the reason why you want to invest in PC stuff is because, like, you don't want to get in there. Like, there's still a decent amount of PS5 shortage. I know they're starting to unpack that. And I'm sure Sony really wants there not to be a PS5 shortage, but I know it's still a little hard. But yeah, it's you know, and it's a whole thing. I mean, no, if you gave a Pokemon game with the same level of the, like, what do they call it? HD2D? Like the way they've handled some of the Final Fantasy releases and shit, like Octopath and Triangle Strategy. I'm sure that would tickle some Pokemon fans.
I'm pretty sure it would rage some as well, because
I mean, there'd be some who would be like, how dare you go back to 2D?
You can't please everyone.
Dinosaur game. Pokemon fans are weird. Like, I heard, apparently some people were sassy about the Final Fantasy 16 trailer, which we'll be talking about later. But it does remind me that there's this weird, like, retro disconnect. Well, it's because it's real time.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I'm like, hey, I loved 7 Remake, so fuck it, dude.
I do remember. I remember here's some people being mad that it isn't turn-based. I'm like, why? Why do you want turn-based?
I mean, it's because turn-based isn't very popular these days, to be sure. It's a little bit of a dying breed. And honestly, it's only mostly a lot of Western studios getting in there. But, like, also, if you're trying to do what you're trying to do with a graphical engine like Final Fantasies have been doing for a long time, then combat is much more impressive in real-time format. Like, yeah, you can kind of make, you can kind of do some stuff to make 7R a little more, you know, a little more turn-based like, but that game is so much more dynamic and cool because it can be real-time. You can mix your inputs with your action bar attacks and MP and all that other stuff.
You know,
listen, guys, I love Final Fantasy 12 to death. You are not going to hear me say that its combat style is, like, impressive or riveting. It is a single player MMO-ass combat form, only without hotkeys, because you don't even do that. It's just gambits. Lucky, you were saying.
Like, I'm not saying like turn-based combat is a thing of the past, but when people have particular visions for how they want their games to go, you know, like some styles are better than other, and if you haven't like shoot, I would say actually since 13 they've been trying to put in a much more action-oriented focus in their Final Fantasies, cuz like with Kingdom Hearts really kicked off the action RPG flavor and Square Enix. And Square Enix, believe it or not, actually has chops in doing action RPGs even before this time, because Enix did such games like originally did such games as Star Ocean, which has always been real-time action, even back as far back as the Super NES. And it's a little clunky, and they worked it out, but I feel like they want to basically, that's the way they want to go. Turn-based definitely has its place, and there's still turn-based games going out there, but Final Fantasy VI...
Keeping in mind that Square Enix has just released Triangle Strategy this year, which is a tactics RPG.
Yeah.
And there's going to be that remaster of, the first two Front Mission games, which is by them.
Yeah, but Final Fantasy right now is their big AAA... Is there going to be their big AAA RPG exclusive? Like they have like Forspoken to get to lean on their I guess action adventure platforming kind of thing. But 16 is their big, it's their oh god, I'm trying to
I mean, how many years has it been? It's been a console generation basically since we had a numbered Final Fantasy. Like Final Fantasy games are there, and I mean, you can argue with Final Fantasy VII Remake because it is a remake, but Final Fantasy is one of their big tent poles, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, 14 is still going strong, but it's an MMO. It's not the same kind of tent pole. But it's a big deal. They're making a splash. They, released a huge splashy trailer, last year?
Yeah.
And now we're getting like a new trailer, and this one was, to get a little bit into the actual state of play part, this was the hype trailer. This was the closer, and this was one of two trailers where a human man appeared on screen to talk about it. And the other one was, they got a Horizon dev from Guerrilla to talk a little bit about Call of the Mountain, and then introduce a new patch to Forbidden West that we'll probably mention at least later. But no, for 16, they're like, okay, we're about to get out of here. Oh, hey, it's Yoshi P.
It's your boy.
It's your boy. He's like, what up, gamers? Real life sucks. We're gonna keep making games. Please enjoy this new trailer. Goodbye. Just giving you a heartfelt message from the couch. We're gonna have more Presser in the coming days. Here's your trailer. Goodbye. Boom. Mm-hmm. And, then they did the State of Play trailer, which needed no further introduction. It was great. And onto the real-time point, I think the reason why it's real-time is because, do you really want to be doing these fucking kaiju battles in turn-based? No, they want to do the spectacle in real time because they're absolutely shooting for a spectacle element here. There's no other reason why they would emphasize the, Esper battles or Eidolon battles or
I think it's Icon.
Whatever. Icon spelled really weird, I think, actually, with like an EI. Icon.
I think that's how they spell it in 14 as well, Icon.
Well, spoilers. 16 is very heavily developed by a lot of Yoshi P's crew from 14, and also quite a few of them are the crew from 12, so... I don't think I haven't noticed, honestly, there is actually, I think, some aesthetic similarities to things they're... 12 obviously was several generations ago and was started in a desert, so they had some different vibes, but I do actually think, some of the costuming elements and, character palettes fit the fact that I believe it's the... Is it the same art director as 12? I think it is. I'll go check our games channel, because somebody actually, No, not somebody, fucking 16 itself,
Oh yeah, no, 16. This is the thing they talked about.
their official Twitter were like, "Yo, hey, you wanna know who's making this game? Well, let's run you down. Producer Naoki Yoshida, Yoshi P. Final Fantasy 14, Dragon Quest X. Main director Hiroshi Takai from Last Remnant, Saga Frontier, and Final Fantasy V. Creative director and original screenplay by Kazutoyo. Sorry, I gotta pull this up on a different monitor. I'm like, here, give me the actual tweet. Put it on my center monitor. I've just realized that trying to read this font when it's not super blown up all the way is killing me. Here we go. Kazutoyo Maehiro, who is our creative director and wrote the screenplay, is 1412 Last Remnant. Our localization directors are Michael Christopher, Koji Fox. You've got that's the same localization as 14, 11, and funnily enough, Final Fantasy VII: Dirge of Cerberus. I'm a little pleasantly surprised that somebody at Square Enix was like, let's put that credit in there. Though I think the localization for Dirge of Cerberus was okay.
I mean, Koji Fox is a fucking treat.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's the fucking Final Fantasy 14. All their quests are literally filled with the most ridiculous fucking puns, and it's all his fault.
Yeah. So we should assume that same level of vibes from this. Art direction by Hiroshi Minagawa, which is 14, 12, and Tactics. So the evilies. If you've ever wondered why 14 seems to have so many vibes with 12, it's probably because, again, it's a lot of the same staff. And also, if you are concerned about the fact that the game is real time, don't be, because the combat director Ryota Suzuki worked on Devil May Cry 5, Dragon's Dogma, and Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which were published by Capcom, but knows what he's doing. And character design Kazuyo Hashi, which is 14, 11, and 10, and composer Masayoshi Soken, 14, Nanashino Game. And also they put Mario Hoops 3-on-3 on here, but okay. I guess that's a credit we're proud of. I've never heard any music from Hoops 3-on-3, but I guess we liked it. But yeah, no, this is the Dream Team type shit. We have assembled a lot of staff on this. I don't think there's any need to worry. It's gonna be good.
I'm excited.
Yeah, no, it's a good trailer, and then like I said, the fact that they published the staff roll after it, I'm just like, damn, this is a squad bullshit right here. This is great.
Well, that is the big release isn't surprised because Yoshi P did say in the thing that now that this trailer is out, they're going to be doing a lot more media coverage on it.
Because what was the actual date in the trailer?
I believe they said it was summer 2023.
Yeah, summer 23. So that probably means post-production mostly is what we're in now.
Oh yeah. I mean, again, Yoshi P was actually horrible about actually keeping secrets. Basically, anytime he started talking to people about it, he'd always give updates about it, which is probably one of the reasons why we didn't actually get any big news, because it was just like anyone who was actually paying attention would just hear interviews. Because Yoshi P is a special kind of, what's the term I want to say? I forgot. It's a special kind of developer who his main thing is he wants to maintain as close a relationship to gamers as possible. So he's constantly going on doing things and talking things. I didn't know about this, but apparently he did a 8-hour tabletop RPG session with a Final Fantasy 14 module, and was playing 3 a.m. It was for some sort of stream or something. But he stayed until 4 a.m. with the streamer group, the Japanese voice actor for Alpha Node, and Yoshi P as well, as he played a small Lalafell black mage girl, and wanted to constantly frisk everyone of money. So that's the kind of person that Yoshi P is, and again that's why when I was just like, because we did have some people in our game channel be like, I'm not sure about this, and I'm just like, believe in Yoshi P.
Yeah, no, it's there's no reason to be afeared of this. Like,
Yeah.
I know some people are maybe been a little concerned from the trailer because there's like, it does. A lot of the fights seem to be set up to be boss fights, like one-on-one duels, but there are still mob fights. You can see them in the trailer. Like, there's collections of smaller dudes, so it's not just going to be dueling. And again, combat direction by the guy who did Devil May Cry 5, which I've personally never played, but I know a lot of people love. I have played Dragon's Dogma. That game has an amazing combat system that people almost universally love. Like, no, this game will do fine. They seem like they're not trying to rush it, you know. Even with this level of trailer detail and dialogue and stuff, they're, you know, it's still not until summer of next year. It's gonna be pretty good. Also, I think summer is fair because Forspoken got pushed, so like that's gonna be later this year, and I'm sure Square Enix doesn't want to step on their own toes too much.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everybody, please hold. The audio recording is lagging slightly, so I'm gonna stop it and reset it.
Oh no.
This means you get special stream-only time.
Stream only time.
Oh boy, Audacity's chewing on this one a little bit. Okay. Did we actually... No. We didn't actually drop any audio. It's just like, you might have dropped some audio. And resume. Okay. Just for the health checkup is fine, but we're back. Okay. But yeah, that got a little bit into... Yeah, hell, let's just talk about State of Play. Let's just roll on into it. You know, we started talking about the end. Let's actually hit up the State of Play. So a couple days ago, there was State of Play. It's still number 32 on trending on YouTube. That should let you know, even though that was 2 days ago, that it was very popular. Some people have called it the best State of Play ever. And I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I also, like, I can't remember a better one off the top of my head either.
Mm-hmm.
Because this one starts amazingly with the announcement of Resident Evil 4 Remake.
I'm excited for this.
With a date. Like, they started with the date even, just to let you know. It is March 24th next year, by the way. I believe that sounds like a future stream game for us.
I mean, I have the entire Resident Evil for PC on the channel, but I'm definitely down for playing it again. Actually, you could probably play it this time. Have you ever?
Yeah, I've never played it all the way through because I got a copy secondhand, I think, on PS, one of the PSs, but it was like scratched. It didn't function well. So yeah, I could probably give this one a shot because I've never actually played 4, even though it's on everything I know. But they're gonna remake 4, and it's gonna be on everything even more. But yeah, so we started with a hard and fast date, and you know, we're doing a remake of 4. Some people have joked that the remake is unnecessary because you can play the original 4 on everything, but it's a remake. They're probably gonna do some different stuff. They're gonna like keep the art design and you know, characterization in line with all the other previous games.
Like, if it was just like another remaster or something, I probably wouldn't actually fucking care about it. But no, it's a remake. Like, they're actually like, people are already doing like comparisons on how different things look and whatnot.
Yeah.
And what I'm hoping is that, like, if in this remake they won't just, you know, make everything look good, but they'll add things, you know, like new
the vibe I'm getting from what Capcom is doing with Resident Evil is basically Resident Evil kind of had a bit of a downturn. Revelations wasn't very popular. 6 was not very popular.
5 was popular in a weird way.
Yeah, people liked playing 5 because of the heavy emphasis on co-op. I don't think anybody thought a lot of the plot.
Yeah.
Of 5, basically. And 6 was just kind of like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Chris Redfield punched a rock? What?
This is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah,
I'm gonna fight Albert Wesker in a fucking volcano? Let's do this shit.
So, like, it was kind of on, like, a downturn, and then for Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, they really went back to roots, even though they switched it to the first-person format.
Uh-huh.
But they really went back to roots with the haunted house, and that was, like, a huge deal for them. And then 8 obviously continues that story, Village. But what I think they're going for with, like, they did an HD version of the original and then RE2 Remake and RE3 Remake is basically, I think that Capcom is trying to, like, reunify their franchise. They're trying to be like, okay, we got a lot of people back with 7. And we have some rough games and we have some very dated games for sure in our old library. What if we really reunified the plot and aesthetic to be consistent between our like the old half of our franchise and our new half, basically, is I think what they're doing, right? Like, they're trying to get everybody back up to speed with their old catalog and kind of like modernize them and make them all streamlined. And eventually this means, I think it's pretty assured at this point, there will be a 5 and 6 remake. Which may give them some opportunity to clean up those games a little bit. So yeah, it's an interesting thing they're doing, and I'll be interested to check it out. And like I said, it's probably a future Scrim game for us. God knows when we'll finish Great Ace Attorney, but hopefully it's sometime in the fall, so maybe we can get some other spooky stuff off there, like do Biohazard or Village or something. But yeah, then they did some trailers for some PSVR stuff. VR2 is coming out sometime, so they like Village VR, which at least looks like they're doing fun stuff with the VR. They're letting you play around with the hands, double-wield guns and stuff. And then there's a sequel to the Walking Dead VR game. It's more zombies in VR. Zombie games seem to live in VR.
Well, it's easy to get that adrenaline going with such things.
Yeah. Some updates to the VR package in No Man's Sky. I found the trailer really weird because it's very action-packed. I have put like 4 or 5 hours, probably even more, into No Man's Sky, and I really have not had that much of an action-packed experience. So, I don't know. I got attacked by weird, quote-unquote, abominations from the ground once for a plot thing. And even then, that was mostly just, well, I don't have the tools to deal with this. Like, yes, I built myself a gun, but it's not really complex. I'm just going to go hide in my ship until they go away. But the last thing then was kind of they used this to dovetail because it's for the Horizon VR game, Call of the Mountain, which they announced already, but this is like an actual trailer. Give you some plot and stuff, talk about some character. Blameless Marad gets name dropped. It shows you kind of like some of the stuff you do in traversal. It seems like there's a lot of VR climbing. I do not know for sure if that's the kind of VR game I'm down for. Like, I'd love to actually try PSVR sometime, but I'm like, man, I don't actually know about climbing tall things. I have a history with heights, and even in non-VR video games, occasionally looking at edges make me go, nee. Collar tug. Like, honestly, I'm not intimidated at all by like a Thunderjaw trying to squish me in VR. It's the fucking cliffs and stuff. I'm just like, man, I don't know about this one. But it's VR and stuff. Looks like they're doing interesting things. Plenty of gadgets. But that's when they have a man from Guerrilla come out to let you know about what they got going on, and also announce a major update for Forbidden West, which is cool. It sounds like a good update. You've got New Game Plus. You can carry your endgame gear into your new file. You can reset your skill points in the menu, right there. There's a new ultra hard difficulty if you're one of those people who's stopped playing Elden Ring. You need a new challenge. I have a slight Elden Ring aside as well I might bring up later. I think the big thing that you and I would care about is, at least for armors, they announced a Transmog System so you can change the appearance of Aloy's armor. So if you have an armor look that you like, you can use that look with whatever stat set you like. I don't know the exact details, I'll have to check it out myself, but that's a good thing. Yeah, if only they can apply that to weapons. They did say there are some new weapons, but being able to, like, reconfigure your looks to suit what you want to look like aesthetically and not have to be limited by your choices is good.
I think this is where I died last time. I'm not sure though.
So it sounds like it's a good update. New Game Plus is always, cool. Especially if it lets you keep your end game shit. I'm hoping that might even mean that you can Sunwing early. We'll have to see if they allowed that. There's also a lot of bug fixes and other random shit. Anime yelling.
I love anime yelling.
大人はみんな嘘ばっかり
This is a good part.
怪盗団は違った
I love when they play around with the shadow dynamics.
Mhm.
Especially considering that in 5, you usually just beat up people's shadows.
あなただって気づいていたでしょどうしようもない
As
な
opposed to 4, which is like, yo
受け
dog,
入れられなかった
you gotta accept yourself. Or you
で
wreck
も違
yourself.
うのよあかねちゃんお母さんを死に追いやあなたの
Anyway, the next thing in
悲し
state
み
of
と
play,
お父さ
while
んの
Lucky's looking at this cutscene, was the Spider-Man on
いなく
PC
なってしま
announcement.
ったら
Many people were excited.
もう二度と伝えられないの
I already have it on, you know,
あの
the
時言っておけ
remastered
ばよ
version
か
on
った
Muppets
逃
5,
げずに
so
向き合
that's not necessary, but it was cool for people.
そんなこと言わない
I actually, you know, because of the potential other side to this with
本当の怪盗団
Bethesda and
私を苦
Xbox,
しめない
um,
本当の怪盗団は
you know, I'm open to the non-exclusiveness because I have to hope that we can easily get some of that stuff back.
あれはまさかジョーカー
But no, it probably just means I'll have to get a PC that games decently.
So weird.
どうなってるのお願い偽物を改心させて私の怪盗団
Oh shit, they're posing on us.
Oh yeah, I forgot how sick this music was.
Yeah, it sounded pretty great.
なんだこいつら私たちこれは
I also appreciate they don't make you actually fight a small
一
child.
体どういう
要は俺らの偽物だ
They know what's up.
なるほどなわかりやすい
But after Spider-Man, we got the Stray footage, Stray trailer.
Oh
With a
yeah.
lot of actual gameplay. AKA Cat Game. I was very excited about this one. Cat Game!
ジョーカー
Because it had been a little radio silent for a while, but we got a, you know, gameplay footage to our cat with a smartphone. There's robots with little faces. We gotta talk to them, gotta do stuff. Some of them are scared of you. There's some cat platforming. I just watched the part in the trailer where there's a row of bottles that you can walk into and knock over because of course you can. You are attacked. Then there's a later segment where they show stealth, where they can they show you the classic "if I fits, I sits" technology. But yeah, this game looks fucking adorable. Even the terrifying parts where there's drones that shoot needles at you,
God damn it. Okay.
or like you get attacked by head crabs or whatever. But it looks cool.
I know it does look cool. Basically, I did a little bit more reading on it, and basically it's a story of just a cat trying to find its family, and like you start out like the cat. I'm like, because I believe there's actually a couple more trailers out there of it, but yeah, the cat
There's
like
been a couple.
the cat starts out alone, like injured, only slinking away, and you find that little backpack thing, and that backpack thing is what lets you interact with everything and store items. But like it's great. It's like I'm actually super excited for Stray. Like,
Yeah, that's July as well. So I think that's check the great calendar.
oh yeah, no, like I think I probably like got stuck on this, but I don't think I actually got mad. But I do love it. This fight.
Oh, it's pretty cool, but I do remember this part being a little difficult.
Because you only have you.
要は俺らの
なるほどな
Yeah, you can only Joker. May I miss?
よく聞けオーケー
No, don't think so.
頑張って私の怪盗団偽物なんてやっつけちゃってジョーカー負けるな本物の力
June. Something in June.
今だぶっ飛ばして
Super excited about.
怪盗団がうまいぞジョーカー
Well, the Shadowrun trilogy being on
負けてらんねえな
I mean, the console's cool, but it's required. Versus the Moon comes to PS5. That's interesting. Yeah, I think the only thing is 3 Hopes later. This one, that's the 24th.
そのまま攻めろジョーカー
I'm excited for 3 Hopes. I'm still a little concerned because about the story.
Yeah, it does look like they're still going with route options. I will say at least the routes seem much more interesting because they did like a preview on the website. Unfortunately for Blue Lions fans, the Azure Gleam route, it literally just sounds like Azure Moon again. Brr, you must stop the Andrestian Empire and, save everybody. I'm trying to remember what the Black Eagles route is, but it sounds like, Edelgard fights for tomorrow and has to overcome, corruption. And I'm like, oh, so we could actually punch those motherfucking snake people, please? And Golden Deer actually involves, it says, Claude will unite everybody and have to fight against Elmira. So that might actually, be doing some interesting stuff. It's still split and route-based, which, again, is just a little bit like, guys, I know we're trying to go for content, but also please don't make me play this game like 40 million times again. I've already burnt out playing too many routes of fucking Three Houses as it is.
Well, like I said, if they do it like they do it like Extella did, and you do the route and then you open up another route, I'm okay with putting in the fucking effort.
Yeah, and also another key thing about Extella is when you do all the routes, then you get the golden route. Like, you get the actual, the true end where you can kind of resolve all the stuff that's left unresolved by the other routes. So, also, as you said, those are much cleaner and shorter as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which is probably going to be true. I cannot imagine that this being a Warriors-type game, it's going to be as long as, an actual Fire Emblem title. Especially with, only semi-time skip stuff. But still, I'm excited. I'll probably want to see a little bit more about, initial impressions right away. But I'm looking at July, and so far, I do think that, Stray is probably my big July interest game.
Oh, yeah.
Also, very interesting to hear, if you have the higher levels of PS Plus, it will be day and date.
Really?
Yeah. They say that at the very end of the trailer, it's if you have what are the levels called? They're going to show me the graphic in a second. It's if you have premium or deluxe, so everything above essential, you will be able to download it right away for no additional cost.
Interesting.
Yeah, which is something that Sony has not committed that everything will be day and date, whereas Game Pass has a lot of energy around day and date. But I think it's a very positive sign if you were interested in the upgrade that Sony is willing to take this on a game that's not even technically exclusive. This game, I believe, is coming to PC right away as well. It will not be on Xbox, but it will be on PC right away as well. So, they're doing some things. They're making some moves. I do not know because I'm paid up for what will become Essential Tier until the end of this year. I don't know if I want to jump to an upgrade right away. But I do have a list of the Japan basically beta of the PS Plus game list, so I do actually want to talk about that later because they have a pretty thorough list. There's a lot of games I've been talking about playing on it already. It might be worth the jump, but yeah, Stray seems good. I know some people are probably skeptical about Cat Game, but I'm not.
I'm not.
Game. And then right after that, we finally got it. Ghost of Protocol Trader.
I'm excited. This definitely...
Oh, yeah. I mean, the game is literally just Dead Space. Not that anybody should be shocked by that. That was kind of what they billed it as, was, hey, we're the developers who used to work at Visceral who made Dead Space before EA disbanded us.
Yeah.
We're making another space horror game. But it's got, the brutal deaths. It's got the over-the-shoulder shot. Our protagonist is not quite as faceless as Isaac Clarke is, but, you've got weapons, you've got little glowy bits. There seems to be a lot of various biological greeblies and spookums they've got going on. It's very gross looking.
I almost feel like
and it'll be an October game release.
Yeah, it looks like it's some sort of, insane prison or something. It looks like, I almost want to say. So I am.
Yeah, you're wearing a prison jumpsuit. There's a voice guy talking about, they call Callisto the dead move. You would have been dead if I hadn't saved you. But don't worry, I'm also gonna double save you by doing unspeakable biological experiments. And and then we're just like, oh no.
体力大丈夫か
I'm in danger.
Yeah, but that release date is now no, December. Sorry, it's December 2nd.
私が推理を貫く
Just read that as October for a second. That's still good. That's this year, late this year.
悪かった
What's December look like?
もう逃げねえから
No, it's Callisto Protocol. I mean, obviously it's still early. That's like 6 months away. But December so far looks pretty lean. The only listed things I've got is Stalker 2, which doesn't even come out on PlayStation. That's Xbox and PC exclusive. Hello Neighbor 2, because they needed a fucking sequel, those guys, and Callisto Protocol. So
本物の怪
there's still a lot of games that don't have an exact release date, but right now it looks pretty lean and mean. November also pretty scarce. That's so far the only hard and fast November dates are Pokemon Scarlet and Violet,
私たちを信
the 18th.
悪党なんかに必ず
My
貫く
October game will probably be Forspoken.
聞いてくれ茜
I'm still kind of on the fence about that one. That's probably going to be one of those games that I'll probably pick up eventually. Like, I know I'm going to pick up Deathloop at some point, but I just got so many fucking games right now.
Oh yeah, I know. I understand. There's a lot of games. Yeah, I totally. I still got some stuff I haven't pulled out. And even though I have games I want to pull out, there's old games I want to go back to. Like I mentioned this on Let's Talk, which just released public today. Go watch it. That I probably want to actually brush up on my Extella Link and make sure I actually finished all the like bonus chapters and all the routes and stuff, all the different variants of the scenes. Because I'm pretty sure I didn't actually do that before. So I want to go back and do that. But I also am still I'm still playing Aliens Elite Fireteam Elite like religiously. I play it a little bit every night.
I wish you let me know. I wish
all
you,
the weapons in the store.
I wish you let me know, because every time I look at I see you playing, I'm like, is he actually on, or did he just like pass out? Because I remember I saw you playing, like it was like 3 a.m. my time. I'm just like, not 3 a.m., but it was like 1 a.m. I was like, isn't that like 4 a.m. where he is?
I do sometimes just leave it on the menu before I turn it off. So yeah, it's possible that I'm usually awake a little bit at 4 a.m. I am probably not playing it. I might have like stayed up to watch because I think that's when the daily reset happens. I play it off and on. We'll talk sometime.
Like I said, because I've tried playing with some randos in that game. It has not been a great experience.
Yeah, no, I play with just the AI all the time on casual. Depending on what challenge cards you pick, that can still be a challenge. Some of those challenges are stupid. They're stupid hard. The one where you can only get your sidearm, that sucks. I don't care that it gives you like 4 times the credits and experience. I don't think I want to do that one again.
茜ちゃん
But yeah, no, I've got a couple of the classes fully leveled now. I've like bought almost all the guns in the store. It's really fun. I think it's that studio's first game, Cold Iron Studios. So I'm definitely, if they're releasing it, you know, whatever they're working on next, I'm definitely gonna be like, I'm gonna check it out.
照れてんのか
I've also, I think I have guessed because there should be 4 seasons of DLC, I think, and we're on the 3rd. I think I know what the next class will probably be. I think it'll be handgun heavy weapon, because I realize that's not a combo that's in yet. I don't know what you'd call that class, but that's just the wombo combo that I realize doesn't exist. But I really like that game, guys. Despite doing, like, there's only 4 campaign levels, despite doing all of them, like, several times, it doesn't really get boring. There are still many variations to it, and the enemies still... Do you guys know how many times I have been ambushed by a fucking Xenomorph Prowler? I know how this game works. I'm still, you know, running, charging dick first in every situation, and then just a guy unfolds from the wall and jumps on me, and I'm like, well, Alpha, Beta, help me.
Save me, sense. I still think the best time. I still think the best time is when you actually can just see them around the corner. You're just like,
Yeah, no. When you see them coming, and you're just like, oh, hello there, pop, pop. But like, the weapon variety is shockingly good. I like a lot of different weapons that are out there. Like some I don't like, but it's a very well put together game. Consider it sometime. It's pretty fun. Let's see. Where was we in state of play? Callisto Protocol, December 2nd. Looking good. Then there was certainly an interesting trailer. I don't know if I'm 100% sold on this game, but it looks interesting. That is Roller Drome.
I am not interested at all. I'm sorry.
Like, it looks like an interesting action game, and they've got kind of this weird, like, 80s retro vibe. And they're doing like cool things with the camera, but it's also definitely one of those things where I'm like, I would have to know, like, I would have to see people play this and hear how they talk about how it feels, because if this game didn't feel great, it would just suck. Like, it's an interesting idea, you know, excellent name branding with Roller Drone, you know. It sounds like a cheesy 80s action movie, but it's absolutely the kind of game that, like, lives and dies by how it plays, right?
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know for sure, because I don't necessarily know if this will be cool. It's a good trailer, I think, but yeah, I'm not 100% on it. A game I might actually be pretty in on, though, was their next one, which was not the greatest naming convention in the universe, but it's a JRPG, so what did you expect? And that's Eternites.
Yeah. I'm for it. I'm a weeb.
Yeah, we know what we're about. Press R2 to hold hands, everybody.
Yeah, no. How they bill it as? RPG dating sim?
Yeah, they're, you know, action RPG elements meet a dating sim. And they've said, they've got a banner and they've said, you know, like, hey, all of these characters are romanceable.
And I'm just all like, yes.
Which is like literally everybody I think they showed in the trailer, including the one dude with the...
I thought it was like two other dudes. But I could be wrong, I can't remember.
I don't remember the second guy. It's... I think the cast they show in the trailer is at least those 5 people. So there's the main character with his fucking laser beam arm, tentacle, sword thing. There's, you know, the pink-haired girl, the Twin Tails science girl, the sporty short-haired girl, and then the boy with white hair. And it says in the banner, all of them are possible romance routes. And I'm like, alright, you know, they got the date tracking like a Persona, R2 to hold hands. You know, they've got 3D graphics, anime cutscenes, and standalone CGs. You know, you've got action bullshit. Also, he's got a fucking glowing laser arm that turns into stuff. I'm sorry, guess what? I'm a sucker for that.
Oh, it's 3 guys in another game?
Have their own.
I like how Axe puts it 3 types of guy in the gay option. I'm like, excuse you, Axe. I don't know, that seems a bit malicious to me.
I mean, there is only, at least so far, one visible male character you can romance. Yes, but that's... I don't think we know much about the dynamics, but yeah, the 5th character is the... Arm Boy is the protagonist.
Yeah.
It's anime as fuck. I'm into it. I know some people aren't, but...
I'm into it.
There's a fucking group hole over a city. There's neon lights. Looks good.
I'm excited for this one. Is there a date?
Let me see the end of the end of the trailer's coming up. I think it was just a release window. It will be both PS4 and PS5. I remember that. Early 23. Okay, so just a window.
Okay, cool. Well, it's probably about less than a year. Oh.
And they're probably saying early because I wonder if perhaps behind closed doors when you submit your trailer for State of Play, like somebody let them know BT Dub's Final Fantasy 16 is summer 23, and you're like, well, we want to make sure we're not
anywhere near that date.
Yeah, we want to make sure we're not seen as trying to compete with that because these games are not the same, but people will not necessarily be thinking about our game. And the next was the quite lengthy trailer for Street Fighter 6. That got a lot of people jazzed.
I mean, it got artist jazzed because I have seen so much Chun-Li in the past 48 hours.
Oh yes, people are all about the Chun-Li redesign. Some people I've heard call it MILF Chun-Li. I don't know if that's 100% true, but she's actually like starting to look older because this game series has been out for like 20 years. So, you know, if depending on the time frame, some of these characters should be aging up. We do have a wide Ryu. There appears to be a single-player kind of open-world type thing. My first thought was, when I didn't know for sure it was 6, I was like, if they make this a Street Fighter RPG, I'm going to find that hilarious for reasons. The reason is that back in the day, White Wolf published a Street Fighter tabletop RPG. Yes, that White Wolf. But no, it is Street Fighter 6, but it looks like they're doing a lot of really interesting things, you know. Battle Hub features and multiplayer, a single-player like mode with some exploring, going back to the street roots. Like, the trailer is very kind of, you know, hip-hop street punk. Looks like they're going to do tag matches, 2v2. I believe technically the roster has leaked / been soft announced. Some people actually looked at some brackets that are in the trailer to like unpack it a little. There's rumors about the character designs. People are simultaneously afraid but also for Cammy with pants. But
I mean, Cammy's thighs are powerful, but
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say though that her thighs aren't so powerful that she can't rock a pair of pants.
I mean, go for it, girl.
And people have gone out of their way to notice that when she does her high kicks, there are some jiggle physics on Chun-Li's ass. Like they know what's up. It looks cool. I've played a little bit of Street Fighter. I don't really see myself as. I think we've talked about this, but neither of us see ourselves really as necessarily fighting game guys. We've got some franchises we play, off and on. But it does actually seem like they're doing new, fresh stuff. It could be interesting, especially if it's got more single player stuff. That's always the kind of concernicus for me, is they're relying a little bit too much on other people for your enjoyment. Like you just talked about doing Aliens Fireteam with randos. I'm like, I don't know if I would. I've thought about it, but I'm not sure I would do that because I like this game even alone, and I especially like this game with friends. It's very hilarious to bathe Lucky in cleansing fire. Thankfully, we only play on casual, so he does not get harmed by this experience. Otherwise, it would be a problem. I would have to pick other guns.
I was actually considering picking Fireteam for the stream, but then I'd be like, no, I need to make it with me, otherwise this will be not entertaining.
Yeah, it would unfortunately it would be like when we tried to play Scott Pilgrim during What's Up, which was not very well liked. That video did not get a lot of views because we didn't really talk about a lot of stuff. We were very distracted by playing Scott Pilgrim because it was a beat 'em up. But like, if the single player stuff is actually interesting, besides just story stuff, I could see checking this game out. Let's see. Do we have a date for this? Your fight coming 23. Okay, so just general 23.
Well, again, I'm glad that Street Fighter is moving on instead of moving on, because everything's got to spin forward. And again, Jiggly butt fixes. I'm just like, I have been blessed. So
yeah, I think, they know what's up.
Chun-Li's thighs thighs are powerful though.
Yeah.
Chun-Li,
they know what they're doing with all their character designs. Like once again, even like wide Ryu with his giant, hobo beard. Like they know what's up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Chun-Li is a iconic character design in several ways.
I mean, that's the one I always picked when I was young, and I mad crushed on her when I was a kid. Mad crushed.
Yeah. So yeah, no, there's very much always interesting to see them go there, and like you said, it's nice to see them moving on. Street Fighter, I think, is one of the fighting game series like most infamous for its just reduxing old titles.
Oh.
Like there are so many jokes made about the many different versions of Street Fighter games out there.
Oh yeah.
It's nice to see them move on, and I do believe that I think Street Fighter V had a little bit of a rough start.
Yeah.
Like I remember some people saying that it was not their favorite with some of their decisions, and it seems like there's there. They're gonna have simplified inputs for casuals like you and me.
Oh, you can't see me, but I was nodding vigorously.
Yeah, so like it seems like Capcom is doing good stuff. That actually like advances the story and the game state, and we're doing things, which is good.
Yeah.
You should actually, if you're gonna keep doing franchises, you should go on with it. Like obviously, we just talked about how the Resident Evil 4 remake looks pretty good, but that's like they're actually like overhauling and modernizing a great game already. So that is different than. It's the difference between, like, say, Final Fantasy VII and then Final Fantasy Remake, or what if we just, kept releasing Final Fantasy on every console ever, which is kind of what Capcom did with 4 before. But we're doing stuff, we're going places. I appreciate it, Capcom. If only the Blue Bomber could get this kind of love. But anyway. Actually, you know what? That's also another Capcom title. I'd also, as a relatively new guy to the franchise, I'd also like to throw Ace Attorney in there. Where's that announcement about Ace Attorney 7? You put it in the roadmap a couple years ago.
No, I think let's see. What is Capcom, actually, the more I think about it, Capcom's putting a lot of focus on Resident Evil, Monster Hunter, and Street Fighter. Actually, now that I've been thinking about it.
Yeah. But I think the thing we've seen with them handling those classic franchises is they definitely are willing to do the touch-up and the revamp and to treat their franchises with love, unlike other people. Just this is just where we silently glare at Konami sitting in the corner, just hugging Metal Gear Solid to itself.
Well, no, they're not hugging it. They just keep obfuscating everything just by throwing more Yu-Gi-Oh cards in the air. Like, look at these cards! Pay attention to nothing else!
I mean, to be fair, Master Duel as a simulator is amazing, and I love the fact that it has single-player content. As a competitive Yu-Gi-Oh simulator, there are issues, there are problems. Apparently, since they actually banned the deck that bots were playing, there's a new bot strategy where some people are just AFK botting and just hoping to frustrate you. Jesus. Into quitting, and I'm just like, oh my god, guys, it's fucking fake ass medals.
Nah, people take their virtual dick very, very seriously, or not seriously at all.
I actually do need to play Master Duel again because they've added several solo modes, and those are always fun. But I definitely am like not necessarily vibing with what they're doing with the competitive aspects of the game and the ladders. I mean, they did some Castlevania like remasters, which are okay. They authorized the Castlevania animated series, which is amazing. So they're not complete bumpkins, but so spoilers for this this PS Plus list in Japan. Metal Gear Solid doesn't appear on it anywhere.
God, they're so stingy.
And I'm just like, I mean, I understand that might just be because they still don't want to re-edit the fucking footage for the licensed footage in the old games or whatever, but like, damn, dude, come on. Not even like, you're not even gonna replace 4 after it left PlayStation Now in the like classic PS3 games? You're killing me, Smalls. On the other hand, that does make me very suspicious that like Konami's gotta be in talks with Sony for like forking over cash for a new remaster collection or something, right? Like, we know Konami loves money. So I guess the question is just how much money do they have to spend versus how much money is Sony willing to spend to get this shit on there? Because Metal Gear has always been a like classic Sony franchise. Well, I shouldn't say always. Obviously, the original Metal Gear games were on the Famicom and stuff and the NES. But the jump to Metal Gear Solid was the jump to discs on PS1, and ever since then they've been locked in as a major Sony franchise that's not really been handled very well. Again, like Capcom, at the very least, they're doing stuff, they're doing things. They, we talked about, we're playing Great Ace Attorney. That game wasn't when it came on the 3DS wasn't localized, but then they re-released it out there later. Like, they make efforts. I've heard a lot of people say that probably the reason why they haven't remastered the second trilogy, starting at Apollo Justice, was probably because the original trilogy, Ace Attorney trilogy, had a lot of new localization options, a lot of new locales and languages, which is kind of expensive because you have to pay lots of people to do lots of different translations. So maybe they're holding that one on the hopper. But if they continue to release, banger new games and remasters and shit, they'll eventually make their money back. So, remain hopeful, everybody. Speaking of some re-releases, we did get a couple of games announced that are coming new to PlayStation. I believe that Tunic game was on Switch before. Now it's going to be on PS4 and PS5. It's, Furry Legend of Zelda. I'm just saying something. And then the other game was that, what was it called? Seasons? Yeah, Season, A Letter to the Future, which I believe is already out on other stuff. And then, as we discussed before, Yoshi P appears to give you the 16 trailer.
I'm excited about it. But, like, looking at it, I definitely see the similarities between, like, 12 and 14. Like, the icon designs are very much, they're not, like, super one-to-ones, but they're very close to the 14 primal designs.
Yeah, and I will also say, they're not exactly the same because we're going for classic Final Fantasy summon lineage. They literally throw the names of the summons in the lyrics. You've got Phoenix, You know, they do the whole climax. It's very, very interesting. But even some of the aesthetics do actually remind me of some of the Esper designs from 12 as well.
Mhm.
Like some of which were you couldn't tell it at the time because it was the PS2, but some of them were quite creepy up close, looking up close. But the models all look really, really rad in this trailer. They've even done some extra like texture detail. Like people have done side-by-side comparisons with Shiva in the first trailer and the second.
Mhm.
Like her skin texture is way better, and she's got glowing eyes in the second trailer. You know. But the aesthetics of all the characters and the setting do definitely remind me of like a lot of decisions that from what I have seen of, you know, I don't know, like Lucky Plan 14, and also once again I would like to remind you, big fan of 12, love 12. It's a great game. Reminds me, I streamed like halfway through a playthrough of Zodiac Age. I wonder if I should go back to that someday. Maybe I should go back to that file at least. But yeah, you know, it's pretty cool, you know. Awaken Child of Fate, Awaken Fleet. They're it looks cool. There's the kaiju battles definitely for sure, and they've got all the action stuff that looks good. I definitely kind of feels like we're going a little bit for some of the more like they talked about darker and mature. There's like a shot in the trailer which is very clearly like, you know, post-sex. There's two naked people in a bed. You see them from behind, so there's nothing explicit, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They also say that this game's not rated yet, and I'm very much wondering if this is going to get an M.
I don't think it's gonna get. Well, nah.
Yeah, it depends on how much they explicitly show, because, like, there does seem to be a lot of, like, suggested, like, violence and serious themes. There's a quote from that one Emperor guy who's like, if a citizen dies, we'll just make another. And I'm like, damn, dude. But, like, looking at the actual, like, combat scenes, there's not, like, heavy-duty blood everywhere. You know, it's not like, once again, you couldn't tell because of the PS2 era graphics, but there were technically some very low poly, you know, boobs in 12. One of the Espers has like a woman sticking out of his shoulder, and she's not wearing a top. It's just that she's always covered, so you can't tell. Like you can't see any detail, but like there's you know some violence and some stuff. There's some fighty things. It probably gonna. I mean, I don't want to say it's gonna be a good time, because I suspect that there will be some of the what the kids these days call emotional damage.
I don't know, like I'm looking at Final Fantasy 14. It's one.
Yeah.
Let's see. It's rated T for teen, for alcohol reference, animated blood, language, suggestive themes, and violence.
Which definitely is what we see in this trailer. Again, the question is, like, I'm watching some of the cutscenes. There's a decent amount of blood spatter. We'll have to see what the ESRB thinks. You know, you never know.
Oh, wait, hang on. Let me see here. Oh, wait, no, I take that back. That was the original. Final Fantasy 14 The Road Reborn is T for T for language, mild blood, sexual themes, use of alcohol, and language. So it's even more.
But still T for teen.
Yeah. Actually, I'm wondering, do they...
I think the M is really, one, how gory does it get, and do you at any point see a nipple? A female nipple, specifically.
No, not Final Fantasy.
Yo, where's that? Where's my Final Fantasy cooking game?
I mean,
I know
they
14 released a cookbook. So.
Yeah, I'm about to say. Let's see here. I wonder if they have like specific ones for expansions and whatnot. Oh, they do. Let's see what they have to say for Heaven's Word. Yeah, no, it looks like the same. So yeah, no. Like I said, as someone who's played 14, we have a lot of skin showing. We have some thighs. We have some alleged sexual implications. Where did they say that Legendary Battles Hunter? Can you get me the interview for that?
I do remember that being some of the stuff they talked about in when the first trailer hit. But I do not remember exactly how they phrased it. Like, I remember them talking about, you know, trying to go for mature themes and stuff, but...
Yeah,
and like I said, I could see it getting the M. It really depends on how much on-screen of this violence that's suggested in the trailer there is.
Yeah, no, like, I just looked it up as, like, Final Fantasy 16 promises a mature experience.
Yeah.
Let me see here. There's some.
Oh, hey. Choose their Adventure All-Star Battle Arc. So in September. I forgot about that.
Oh, and I'm looking at here. It has a professional Peggy 18.
Okay, so there's been some pre-game ballparking. It may end up there. That will still probably depend on the individual rating boards. Different countries have different thoughts. Like, for instance, if at any point you do drugs, Australia hates you. Adults only.
Yeah, but no, I'm like I dug it up here. Square Enix hasn't necessarily said they're going for a mature experience, but that doesn't say they're going for the mature rating. And
but if you combine that with the fact that they've gotten a provisional Peggy 18, that means that depending on what kind of, like, if they do any, like, editing or anything, though that's a lot harder for video games than it is for movies, they may end up there, but I'm not sure that they're necessarily shooting for the actual literal and for mature rating.
I must have forgotten to save or something because fucking. I remember this creepy ass statue thing. I wonder why I started all the way back there though. Huh.
Yeah, weird. Maybe you like.
I guess I forgot to save or something.
One or something. Yeah. Who knows? Oh no! Fake Siri is shut down. Whatever will we do? But yeah, that was State of Play.
Yay, play. I'm excited. Like, I'm most excited, like, out of it, I was most excited for 16, Callisto Project, and Stray.
Yeah.
So those are definitely
ones for me.
Yeah, those are the ones I'm definitely penciling in.
There have also, because I believe it is technically Summer Games Fest. Or at least that's soon. That's June 9th. Though the State of Play was branded with Summer Game Fest.
Oh, interesting.
So, Sony cooperated with that. But let's see. That's not the individual showcases. Interesting. We'll catch up with it. Good old Jeff Keighley, But because it is around that time, and it's similar to when we would get the E3 type stuff. There have been a few game announcements already. We got hard and fast confirmation and a logo that DA4 is officially Dragon Age Dreadwolf.
I feel like this was literally one of the most obvious fucking things ever. I don't know why.
I mean, it was, because they called it Dreadwolf as a project. The question is just that, like, would that be the final title? And they're like, nope, it is in fact Dreadwolf. Here's a logo. It's very perfect. It's weird. I do not see the link. That's the image post. Here we have Dragon Age Dreadwolf logo. It is purple. So I'm like, I'm glad they continue to be working on it.
Gilda Ray's Pharmacy, god damn it. What the fuck? So I was just scrolling in, I just saw that, I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. There's a lot of little skis hidden in there.
I need to actually beat Inquisition. Well, actually, honestly, I should probably...
I feel like, especially if we're calling it Dreadwolf, I need to go back and get the PS4 version with all the DLC and actually play the Trespasser DLC, which is supposed to involve with that, but wasn't available on the previous gen, as BioWare do sometimes.
Actually, honestly, I think what I need to do is I need to go... I need to...
grab the Game of the Year edition and go through with the DLC and stuff.
Honestly, I think I might start a full... go all the way back to Dragon Age Origins.
Having done that a few times, it's pretty fun. I kind of wish, especially after the success of Mass Effect Trilogy, I really hope before Dreadwolf they do that for Dragon Age. Give me a Dragon Age Trilogy, please.
The Dragon Age collection with all DLC and one convenient current gen disc.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing, yes.
You know, all DLC integrated, so you can and all on the same disk, so your save files and shit can be your you know world state can be seamlessly profiled. You know, with Mass Effect, you know, Mass Effect Trilogy, the Legendary Edition or whatever. It was just pop in disk, Mass Effect 1, blah blah blah. Open up Mass Effect 2. We've detected your Mass Effect 1 data. Would you like to import that Shepard? Yes. Click.
Done.
Very well, importing all your decisions. We're done. Let's go. Like, you give me that kind of streamlining, that would be perfect. And then just make it so you can save that file and export it to Dreadwolf, everybody. Easy peasy. But yeah, that would, especially after I had such a positive experience doing the Mass Effect trilogy, I would love for them to do that with Dragon Age. And I don't really know what... They've teased a new Mass Effect game. Still no news about that. But I don't really know what BioWare is doing right now. Because I don't think they're involved directly with the KOTOR remake. So, But yeah, Lucky and I are big fans of Dragon Age. It's a pretty fun series, all things considered. I know that some people object to certain story decisions, and yes, there are certainly characters in some Dragon Age games. I really wish there was a, you know, yeet off a cliff button. But it's really easy to just leave them in camp and never talk to those people ever again.
Goodbye.
Unless to do their companion quests, because, you know, who doesn't love companion quests? But yeah, so form a logo on that one. And this one's pretty exciting for me. I don't know how much Lucky would care about it, but again, I think it's because it's Summer Games Fest. There were a couple of 40K video game announcements. One was I'm kind of middling on, but was still interesting. It's called Warhammer 40K Bolt Gun. It's I would call it a retro FPS. I have heard some people call it a boomer shooter. It's basically a Doom retro clone. Like, it's got pixelated graphics in its first person and stuff, and I'm like, that's really interesting that it took this long for them to make that game, to make 40K Doom properly. But the big one is that the same company, it's Owl something, I forget, but the same company that made those Pathfinder RPGs, which I think I own Kingmaker. I've just never booted up. I should do that sometime. I think somebody gifted it to me.
I played Kingmaker, but I'm mad that there's, like, their prestige classes was severely limited. And that made me mad.
Yeah, I know. It is a Pathfinder game. I think they did some stuff with either expansions, and of course, there's a healthy modding scene because it is on.
I should check that. If they actually made an assassin prestige class, I'll go back. But I was literally playing an orc rogue, and I'm just like, wait, where do I go? And they're just like,
what do I do with this?
Magic archer, and I'm just arcane archer. I'm just like, why?
That doesn't make any goddamn sense. Listen, I love arcane archers, but like no, you're a rogue. That's like multi-classing at a like ranger or fighter. Wow, so you've played the game though, so
yeah.
You know the studio. Well, they have announced they are doing a Rogue Trader CRPG. Literally, Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader, and on Twitter they said they will be basing it on the old Fantasy Flight system.
Oh, sick.
Which is one very interesting because hey, guess what? Games Workshop dropped their license with Fantasy Flight, possibly because before they revamped their edition like twice, 40K was being beat out by then Fantasy Flight Games' X-Wing miniatures game. That is probably no longer true, unfortunately, due to several things. One, they revamped editions a couple of times, and also X-Wing went through a second edition phase of their own that wasn't the cleanest transition, and some other choices. But anyway, I'm not here to get into X-Wing drama. Though I have purchased some X-Wing miniatures before, and they are fun. Unfortunately, my thing is broken. I have to get a new stand for it. Anyway, but yeah, so they straight up said they're basing it off Fantasy Flight Games' Rogue Trader system, which is neat. I've always loved those games. I've only played them a little, but I've read all of them and listened to a decent number of people play. They're pretty decent, and it's a pretty simple system to port over to computers. It's a percentile-based system. They've already advertised they're going to have some interesting party members. You can get, like, an Eldar Ranger. You can get a Sister of Battle on your side, and I'm just like, swag.
What
you
what
get a
type of
Space
game?
Marine, because of course you can get a Space Marine.
唐突に嫌なことを思い出した
What's up, Lucky?
What type of game you say it was again?
Rogue Trader?
Yeah, no, what type of gameplay?
The tabletop RPG was Personnel based.
No, I'm talking about this new one.
It's a computer RPG like the Pathfinder games. I used
Oh,
to.
okay.
Showed a little bit of gameplay, so I'm like, I'm very very interested in that. I've heard good things about their Pathfinder work, so them turning to a 40K game and basing it on the old Fantasy Flight systems, and arguably Rogue Trader was one of their games with the more identity, shall we say? Because if you guys don't know, the way Rogue Trader is set up is. And the way I think they've advertised this game will be, usually one of your player characters is the Rogue Trader, who is basically like, a part privateer, part merchant marine. You have a warrant of trade from Holy Terra, the seat of the Imperium of Man, which allows you to engage in all kinds of interspace commerce and exploration and whatever, including even allowing you to, if you think it will benefit the Imperium, to interact with Xenos and heretics and shit. So Rogue Traders actually can kind of get around a lot of the weirdness and the restrictiveness of the Imperium to do lots of different things. They even advertise this in the trailer, like whatever your Rogue Trader ancestor is talking about giving you the warrant, talks about, well, you have a monetary path, a Gloria, a zealous path, a heretic path, God, Emperor forbid. So it seems like they're going to let you flex that a little bit. You've got a wide variety of party members they're talking about in some of the press releases. It's a pretty decent game system, and I think they'll, you can actually get into a lot of these weird exploration-y type stuff.
I mean, that sounds like, I guess, I've never said I've never been a 40K guy, but I like the premise of just being a trader going around in the universe of evil and hell, trying to eke out a living. That premise sounds interesting. Just, I'm not that sold on the franchise of it.
Yeah. But depending on what kind of plot this has, it's probably going to be pretty interesting. And I do like that a lot of tabletop games are getting this kind of, CRPG revival. We just talked about earlier how the Shadowrun trilogy, those great harebrained skiing games, is coming to consoles this year. Excellent games on PC. I already own all 3 of them on PC. I think the only one I haven't played thoroughly is Hong Kong.
How do I activate?
But yeah, so I was very very jazzed by that announcement.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I need to take a break and refill my water, everybody. I will try not to breathe it, but I will be right back. You guys can watch Lucky run around. What city are you in right now?
I'm in Osaka right now, but I'm running back to Shibuya jail because apparently there's a request where I have to meet a place without getting caught. I'm trying to figure out how to actually make it work. Do I actually have to be Panther?
Oh. No, I think it's from Panther. I think you just gotta, without getting in a fight and getting caught, run to the target location. You just gotta remember where it is. Which is probably gonna be a problem for you. Because you haven't played this game in God knows how long. Anyway, I will burp. Always. Yep.
あいつ気づいてないチャンスだよ
Yeah, how did this request work?
探
Let's
して
see.
きたぞ今はこれを受けてるぞ
The underground waterway while hidden. We should celebrate. Alright, so first let's actually, I got an idea. I'm gonna go figure out where the waterway was first, and then I'll make my way back, then restart again, and see how that works. Go me!
あれちょっと調べてみるか
Alright, so let's go to the other checkpoint. Okay, so the underground waterway is there. Oh wait, do I just have to do it from the underground waterway? Let's try that.
さてこっからどうするんだ
Oh, okay, I did fail it. Okay, shit. So I do have to do it from the beginning. Alright. Because it said failed. Go to other checkpoint. God damn, there's so much. Alright, so if I go to the west exit, then I should be able to... Man, they're making me go in a long way. Fuck. Okay, I don't have to worry about any of those, though. So from the jail, I go to Maruku City. Where's the jail entrance? Oh, I'm at the crossing. Derp derp. So Shibuya Crossing, and then I gotta go all the way down to there. Man, this is seems like a bit of a pain, but...
OK 引き上げるとしよう
Green. It's gonna be green, because we went blue, and then we went yellow, then we did this red. It's green now. It's time for green.
仕事の時間だぜ
Alright, so let's actually try to not fuck this up this time.
さあやるわよ
Alrighty, I'm back. Unpause.
Welcome back.
What color will Persona 6 be? I mean, I think the only one they haven't done is Gren, right?
Oh, yeah, I said green.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm back. So I do have like I said, a big old list from, because Japan and some other parts of Asia got access to the PS Plus new levels early as kind of a beta test. So somebody has put together a big old list of the games they have access to. I will link Lucky this list. He wants to peruse it himself.
Oh, hang on.
But it's pretty chunky. There's quite a few things on here. It's got a lot of stuff that you'd expect. Already they've announced like Assassin's Creed Valhalla's on there.
Oh, do I have to oh, I think I have to re-accept it. Holy shit, okay. Because I messed it up, but...
So for PS4 and PS5 games, you've got, like I said, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I assume what were the PSP or Vita Uncharted games? Pirate King and Ancient Gods Hollows. Until Dawn's on there. Infamous First Light and Second Son. I think they've already talked about that. A lot of entries in the Legend of Heroes series.
I mean, that's good.
XCOM 2's on here. Overcooked 2. A lot of these games have been on stuff already. Caligula Overdose is on this list.
I still need to beat that.
You really don't need it, but Killzone Shadowfall is on this list. It's the only Killzone game I think they've got on the list so far. Gorilla, please. I loved Killzone. I know Shadowfall was bad. Trust me, I bought it for like $8, and I kind of wish I didn't. But the first, well, I've never actually played Killzone 1. That was, I think that was on late PS2, and I just missed it. But I really liked Killzone 2 and 3.
Do not increase security level and do not use quick travel. So I think that means I can get in the fight as long as no one actually catches me. So kill from the shadows. I got this.
So let's see what else we got here.
Honestly, I love being assassin-type characters. Next time we start a new tabletop, like actually new, not one of our many that we have in the backlog waiting. I think I will try to play some sort of rogue assassin-type character. Get people to stabs.
There's some other expected stuff you'd see on this list. There's, Control Ultimate Edition, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut for both versions. God of War's on here. The new Call of Cthulhu's on this list, which is interesting, but not super surprising. It's very popular in Japan,
始
obviously.
めましょうか
The RPG.
The RPG.
You know, the Crew and the Crew 2 and the Surge of the Surge 2. That's very funny.
今ならチャンスだよ
The PS4 version of City Skylines, Shenmue 3. There's a lot of
よしやってしま
a lot of Square Enix titles on here. Star Trek Bridge Crew is a little funny. Saints Row the Third remastered for free. Soul Calibur 6 is on the list.
気になるものがあるなここからなら奇襲できる
Careful,
よ
Station on the list already. Death Stranding and Death Stranding Director's Cut. Straight from Human on the list. The new, I think it's the new Demon Souls. Trials is on the list.
たわいもない
この調子でゴーだ
Oh, the Necromunda game's on this list. That's interesting. Speaking, by the way, of other, Pathfinder Kingmaker Definitive Edition is also on this list. 80 PS Plus. They've got Far Cry 3, Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, and Far Cry 4.
これが効いてきな
We've also got quite a few Final Fantasies, as I mentioned. You've got Final Fantasy 7. I believe that's the PS like 4 port, not remake on this list. But Final Fantasy 8 remastered, Final Fantasy 9, Final Fantasy X and X2 HD remaster, Final Fantasy 12 the Zodiac Age Digital Normal Edition, and Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition. So like a decent chunk of the Final Fantasies. Both Fallout 4 and Fallout 76 are on here. I assume that despite the fact that Microsoft owns Bethesda now, nobody wants to play those games that badly, so they weren't keeping them exclusive. Friday the 13th. Bloodstained is actually on this list. Interesting. Bloodborne, Prison Architect, Hotline Miami Collection, Horizon Zero Dawn Complete. A lot of the Marvel games, Spider-Man Game of the Year, both versions of Miles Morales, PS4 and PS5, and Guardians of the Galaxy, both versions.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's already on Xbox Game Pass, so I'm not that surprised.
True.
But yeah, no, they're bringing that. Let's see. Like, obviously, this is only the highlights of stuff that jumps out at me, because there's a lot of random shit here. Like, are you guys really interested to play Monster Truck Championship PS5 Edition for free? Big Planet 3. Some Lego games. Returnal is on there as well. I believe they said that already. RDR2 is also, I believe, known.
次も頼むぞ
The World of the Apocalypse game. World of Final Fantasy. Oh, Warhammer 40k Inquisitor Martyr.
There's so many 40k games.
Oh, there's a lot. Really, especially over the past decade, but always, Games Workshop has been way more open with their video game license. They'll let anybody make anything, which means some of them are amazing and lots of them are shovelware.
よしどんな
Interestingly, Watch Dogs #1 Digital Normal Edition. None of the sequels. Seems a little weird. Maybe that's just, they're waiting for later.
シャドウは気づいてない
Something that for me is really interesting. Also, Witch in the Hundred Night remaster and Witch in the Hundred Night 2.
Oh, that is a... I do...
So, like, honestly, looking at this list, this is actually doing a good job of selling me on the extra edition, the deluxe, right? Because there's a lot of fucking games on here that I want to play that I haven't played yet, like upgrades to like Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut and Death Stranding Director's Cut, right? I just mentioned Witch in Hundred Night remaster and
余裕なしょ
Hundred Night 2. A lot of good shit on here. I also own like half these games already thanks to like PS Plus. But it's still, it seems like they're doing good stuff. And the Japanese list is smaller than the Western list, I believe. I believe Japan is advertised as having over 300 games, and the North American press release is over 400 games. And if you're interested in the PlayStation Classics, PS2, PS3 streaming only, PS1/PSP, they also have a big list of those. Let's see, what kind of stuff we got here? Castlevania Lord of Shadow 2.
I'm surprised I only got 2 on there, not the first one.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel once again, I feel like Konami might be being stingy or something. There's not a huge shitload of their titles on this list. You know, Uncharted Collection, which I think is technically the PS4 remaster version. Some of this stuff seems to be broken up a little bit weirdly. You know, they've got the God of War HD collection. Yeah, God of War HD, God of War 2 HD, God of War 3 remastered. Siphon Filter. PS1 game. Oh, this is a very funny I was like, what the fuck does this mean? It's a translation.
Oh yeah.
Jack and Daxter Old World Heritage.
Oh no, you should check what was it, I think it was some of the Uncharted titles had really funky names too.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but I was like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, I think is it an Uncharted? Let me see, because I didn't name it. It's yeah, I'm wondering if this is meant to be Uncharted 4. Uncharted Pirate King and the Last Hidden.
Yeah, there it was.
Yeah. Oh no, they do have I see Castlevania Lords of Shadow Fateful Magic Mirror.
Oh, okay.
It's like a different version. Yeah, it's just the list's a little weird. Sometimes it's alphabetical, sometimes it's not. But,
I gotta double check our list, because unlike some people, I actually did enjoy Lords of Shadow, so I wouldn't mind playing it again.
But all 4 of the canonical Jack games are on this list. No sign of Daxter itself, which is a shame because it was on PSP. But you know, Jack and Daxter, Precursor Legacy, Jack 2, Jack 3, Jack X Combat Racing. Samurai Warriors, Darksiders and Darksiders 2, Dark Mist, Earth Defense Force 4, Dead or Alive 5 Last Round for PS3. I assume the original PS3 version of Demon's Souls is on this list as well, so you can get your favorite flavor. Ninja Gaiden Sigma, Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2. Several different editions. Bioshock Infinite, Bioshock Remaster, Bioshock 2 Remaster, RE4, RE5, and RE6. Wow. All on here. This is in the whatever the highest level is, premium, I think, because those are the like PS3 versions. But still, like Capcom getting pretty tight in with Sony, it seems like.
All right, we made it.
Bulletstorm Full Clip, Borderlands Double Deluxe Collection. I wonder if that's the Handsome Jack Collection. I don't know. Double Deluxe. The original version of 100 Night, Lucian 100 Night. Mafia and Mafia 2. Several golf games, several Metal Slug games. The Last of Us Remastered. Lots of Worms games. Wild Arms, you know. Lost Planet 2 and Lost Planet 3. Resistance 3. Ooh, Red Faction Guerrilla Mars Remastered. Technically remastered, but you know what I mean. Brood Factory Oceans. So these do actually seem like they're making good decisions with these lists. Like, they've got a lot of shovelware, obviously, but they got a lot of AAA titles, which are third-party as well.
All those games at your fingertips.
Mm-hmm. And, like, it is honestly the same argument as Game Pass, right? Where if you download, like, 3 or 4 of these games in a year, you've basically paid for the subscription, right?
Right.
And honestly, I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, no, I mean, I'd still wait until my renewal was up anyway. But I definitely see this and go, no, there's definitely some games I really want to play on here that I never got around to. Oh, I missed it before. Hollow Knight is on this list. If you want to play the shark game Maneater, it's on this list. Medieval Revived. Little Nightmares. So, like, definitely some potential here. Ooh, neat hug. The original Nio, not Nio 2, though. Dead Cells. Yeah, lots of stuff. So, in general... Oh, hey! I just realized, the console version of Terraria.
Oh,
Not
sick.
my preferred version, but still nice. Nice to see them getting that little detail. So, yeah, no, it does actually seem like they've got a wide variety of games on this list. You know, of all genres, all sorts of manufacturers. There's still some stuff I'm a little surprised about. As we discussed, the fact that, you know, they do have Castlevania, Lords of Shadow, and Lords of Shadow 2. Okay, but what about the rest of the Castlevanias? You know, like Symphony of the Night was a pretty big get back in the day on the PlayStation. There is a good version of it. Half Genie here. You mean the Shantae game? I think I have them on my Steam wish list. I've never gotten around to trying them. They seem fun. I know some people who really like them. But yeah, so I was reading this list and I'm like, this is pretty good looking. Like, obviously, I still own some of these games already, but they're really trying.
Yeah. An effort has been made.
Yeah, and again, the when this finally comes out over here, this list is supposed to be bigger because they say that they have different numbers of games offered. So we'll have to see what the differences in like licensing is. Like I said, I will still not be 100% sold until I can look at the full list and think about the pricing and stuff. But it does, and also hear how bad the streaming of PS3 classics is. But like, it does. I don't think it's probably, you know, if you want to do it 1-to-1, it's probably not as crazy as Game Pass. Like we said, Sony hasn't committed to day and date for all their first-party games or exclusives. And I think most games that come out for Xbox do go to Game Pass right away. But, like, they got a lot of stuff. They got a lot of good games. They got a lot of, you know, small games, big games, whatever. It seems like so far they're making an effort to make it worth the investment. Which is cool. We like that. We appreciate that.
I'm gonna skip that.
Ooh. Yeah, the fact that they make you do the boss cutscene both times, even when you do the boss relive. Great design on the shadows, but
Terrifying.
Alright, so I know you're in a boss fight, Lucky, but did you have anything else that came up for you this week that you wanted to make sure to bring up?
No, I'm not really. I'm constantly reading, well, listening to audiobooks, but I don't think it's anything that
Nothing stand out, nothing knock out of the park?
yeah. Trying to, whoops. Oh shit.
Just as somebody in chat was talking about how to do
I need
it. Yeah, alright.
Like I'm trying to think, but no, I've done nothing that interesting.
No, it's okay. We're currently playing Watch Chicken. I have to find some free time to watch
Love, Death, and Robots.
Yeah, Love, Death, and Robots, which has, I think, 3 full seasons. Though they're short, so they won't actually be that long.
Yeah, no, they're all like between 10 and Okay, I'm getting a little mad here. They're like, hey, we need you to drop a chandelier on here. I'm like, she's staying literally the farthest away from a chandelier. She
yeah, well, I think it's because they're trying not to make you forget, but yes, it is probably a little annoying.
There we go.
Oh, and see, even you even had, Morgana waiting there to do it. Flip.
よし敵の攻撃力が下がったいいぞスキルヒット
So sad.
So sad.
But yeah, that's why we're, like I said, I need to hit up the number one, so Lucky will make sure remember to hit up Ghost in the Shell.
力がやばい
We can talk about that, because I got feelings, I got thoughts.
このまま行こうぜリゾーボックスナイス追撃
I did actually, this week, I had a little bit of free downtime after other than all the news stuff, I don't really have a lot to talk about because I mentioned this on Let's Talk as well. I did get my COVID booster on Tuesday, that's why there was no failed trail. Although, hey, today I did do the failed trail poll for this month. If you are a patron with 5 and up level, you can pick a topic. And I did finally, coax out enough answers out of the guys to actually throw that one up there. Oh, hey, and Dallas is not running away with it again. It's a 3-way tie. But, that's up there, so you can check that one out. We'll be back to it, I'm sure, this week if we can. But that really moved me those couple of days, so I spent a lot of time laying down and just watching lots of YouTube and stuff. But I also did actually watch all the episodes of Kenobi that came out. I know some people are like really butthurt about it, but I'm like, eh. I think it's decent. Some of the choreo for some of the action stuff is a little weird. They have one of the Inquisitors do some like force enhanced parkour, and I'm like, okay, this concept is cool, but you keep moving the camera angle way too much, and it's a little disorienting. Semi-spoilers, but also she's in the first episode, so it's not really spoilers, but there is some little Leia action in it. Lets you know that Princess Leia has, absolutely been destroying people with words since she was literally 10 years old. It's pretty great. Overall, I think it's pretty solid. It's only like 6 episodes, for about halfway through. We get some big V on screen. It's very good. I think it's good anyway. Got real screen presence, big V. So it's pretty solid. There's also a lot of news coming out of Celebration. They announced the second season of Bad Batch. Still need to catch up on that show. They actually showed a trailer for the Cassian Andor themed show, which seems to be like even more early Rebellion setup stuff that seemed pretty neat aesthetically. I'm kind of interested in that. I've been kind of hoping that all this Star Wars news and Star Wars vibes would kind of get me Jones to write for the Star Wars RPG again. It really hasn't so far. I'm not sure about that one. We've always talked about how if we're out of juice, we're out of juice. And I'm like, I have stories I want to tell. But at the same time, after doing it for over 100 episodes, I'm like, man, I really don't necessarily feel like I have interesting mechanics I want to tell. So I don't know. We'll have to see because we still got a lot to work through. Star Court, 80 pages. That's still plenty of time to get those creative juices flowing. But I've been trying to get a little bit of extra juice, and I'm like, it hasn't quite hit yet.
I mean, if it doesn't hit, it doesn't hit.
Yeah. And like I said, I would always be willing to sit down with you guys and like physically talk through like the last couple of plot elements and arcs and like see what kind of endings you guys think your characters would end up with, because I've always thought of a couple of choices out there. Spoilers. Almost all of my versions of where I think Webu's character was end up is she probably gets the showdown with the aforementioned Big V.
Oh, really?
I don't think she makes it out of that, but I always kind of imagine like if she runs off to the battlefront or something or goes to hunt pirates, that Inquisitors are well-known chumps in the Star Wars universe, and Webu is a very high-level player character.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that would work out for them very well. You guys have seen what I have done with enemy force users, and it has not always been impressive. So I suspect there would be a Darth Vader confrontation somewhere in there, because we'd have to escalate. It's that or like drop a moon on her. Listen, Webu's pretty gnarly. But like I said, so if we need to get that closure, I'd love to talk that through with you guys. And other than that, it would probably be try and fiddle with my next ideas for DG, or go back and round out my last couple of ideas for the Sprawl.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually been trying to chip away a little this week because I realized I had left it open and I was just thinking about it. Some more of the background stuff in the Singularity War document, like actually work on the post-war period, the collapse, and talk about like some of the ideas we discussed for like how that happened and what lines that fragmented on. Get a little more in depth with the geography.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually like spent a lot of time looking at maps and like plotting out some ideas and stuff for like how that shook out. I discovered that I didn't realize this at first because it's been a while since I looked at a map closely of Canada, but for a locality that that has talked about referendums on independence before, Quebec is very inconveniently placed. If Quebec were to actually become an independent country, that would literally cut off like I think 3 or 4 different other Dominion states of Canada. So I had to actually go back into the backstory and be like, okay, that means that in our Singularity War setting, those parts of Canada that got cut off would have to have been admitted into New England. So I funny stuff like that. Looking at funny historical gags, like apparently for a brief time period there was a Republic of Yucatan on the peninsula that was separate from Mexico. And they actually wanted to join the United States.
Really?
Funnily enough. I didn't. I'm kind of shocked they don't teach us about this in history, but there were a lot of places that volunteered. Some parts of Canada were strongly considered. It's only after Canada courted them very hard that they actually switched. We also pushed for Newfoundland and Labrador to be admitted as a state because during one of the World Wars, I think it was 2, we actually built some naval bases up there.
Oh.
Instead, we just agreed with Canada to let us keep our naval bases. At another point, for naval reasons, I believe, there were actually proposals for the U.S. to annex Greenland.
Really?
Yeah. All kinds of fun stuff. And like I said, the Republic of Yucatan, which was separate from Mexico, actually petitioned to join the U.S. Politicians here did not want to go through with it because they were currently experiencing a rebellion by the local Mayan peoples. And basically America was like, we don't want to admit somebody to a statehood to literally jump into a war against some natives we have to pay for. That's like bullshit. After that issue got cleared up, Mexico just came in and added them, and now they are part of the United Mexican States. But yeah, I found a couple of funny little history blurbs in there to include, so I've been slowly chipping that one out to like give a general cyberpunky vibe to the whole world, but without necessarily going like literally into every detail. But some decent stuff to work from. But yeah, probably Sprawl or DG would be the next out there. But if we needed a longer running game, we could always bust out Gensekai.
I mean, I think Gensekai is probably like if we're talking like next big game. I mean, that's the one for me.
Yeah, that one would definitely be a little more consistent because it would be definitely much more seat of my pants, loosey goosey type stuff. Like I already, if I think back to it, I'm like, okay, what did I have in mind for an early playtest game? Right, that one. Yeah, I remember that scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember my starting steps to like get some people involved. So like, I can probably sum that up. And like I said, I've got all the core mechanics. I think the only thing is time. I have to double check my image file folders. I don't think I actually mapped out the talent trees for the quote-unquote prestige class, the advanced specs. I do need to go back and do that, just to be safe, because I know that some people are interested in. Like the eyeball's the one that gives him the cooking talents.
I do. I forgot how much I hate fucking status effects.
Yeah, I mentioned this, a couple hours ago, but it's funny how much this game is a Persona game. And boy, damn, they're rough sometimes. All right, got him.
I have to use a lot of my resources there. I was just doing this for a request.
I mean, I do believe you get a decent amount of cashitos. And yeah, you get a little bit for the boss fight. You got some stuff back.
Wind boost, huh? Oh wait, No D, Rama, Re, Carm, Garland. Fuck it. Alright.
Yeah, picking your moves is always the killer in Persona games. Boost.
God, I always love going back to a game and then hearing a character be like, I know that person. Because when I was booting up this game and I was hearing Sophie talk, it was like, oh yeah, that's Benny Enma's voice actress. I was like, yeah. It was great. Made me happy. All right, let's get the fuck out of here. All right, so
I do not like this place. Let us never return.
I hope I don't have to return.
But yeah, speaking of tabletop RPG stuff, we do have our probably because this is Saturday and we're doing this, and Let's Talk FGO came out. Sunday, I will actually post the next part of Star Court. Good session overall. You guys were very shocked to actually get as much done as I think you did.
Yeah, I was a bit there. I was just like, whoa. With a Phantom Dash. I need to remember what the fuck a Phantom Dash is. Let's see here. Let's check. Is there something in system?
That's the. I think a Phantom Dash is when you like leap to objects and stuff.
Here we go, Phantom Dash.
Yeah, you get in the tutorials. You've noticed that Past Lucky has literally never needed this before. Yeah, it is the speed motion thing. But yes, Sunday I'll probably post part 3, so you can check it out. Please check it out. Great.
Okay.
But you know, like I said, guys got a lot of stuff done. They were surprised about how many things they were able to ram out at once. But you know, it's very funny, just happenstance. Like I think I said that I arranged the mall map, kind of the handout map basically. I gave you guys kind of last minute and semi randomly. So it's just so funny that just Dallas happened to be like, this arcade shit's not for me. I'm gonna go check out this place, and then it was like, well, what are you looking for? You looking for signs? Oh, well, guess what? There's a sign. This is a place where stuff happens.
And we were
Shit,
and yeah, that's everyone was like, oh shit.
Yeah. So you kind of, you got a little more done than you thought. We had a combato. First time in a long time you guys had a fight. Pretty typical with Delta Green. As we saw as a result, even pretty basic shit like just bonketing back and forth can be pretty dangerous.
Yeah, I took some damage.
Once again, Kara is the only one who got thumped. And you got thumped a lot. But I also... It's my powerful stink-ass Delta Green dice. They're very good at rolling maximum on damages and sands. And then when I roll sand... When I rolled sand recovery when you did that later, that was max as well, because I rolled like a 4. And then 1 automatically. But yeah, that was pretty interesting. I realized, actually, I was reading over my notes for those entities, which are called the Zeitgeists, for reasons that will become clear if you listen to the AP, probably. Clear is debatable. I realized that in my original notes I had written that they took, but before we actually started the conflict winners are setting up, I was checking their stats. I realized I had written that they took half damage from all sources. I wrote that part before I did the armory, where I actually eyeballed how good player facing damage is. And so before we actually started the combat, I was like, no, that's not good. That's not going to work. These guys are going to die. So I changed it to they take half damage from unarmed and blunt impacts, because they're not biological.
They're robotical.
They have an armor rating, and pistols don't really have a lot of AP, so no, they can take full damage from bullets. It's fine. Dallas with his big old cowboy gun doing a lot of work though. Even though he's not, he said he's not that great at shooting and doesn't have any fun accessories. But I think it livened it up. There was still a real level of risk, but also some of you had enough tools to get in there, and even though your character, for instance, is not super great at combat, you were certainly willing to go, fuck it, let's shoot.
Yeah, that's me in general.
Yeah. I do find it kind of funny They're not so funny because X keeps not forgetting about it. But it is funny how him with Benoit showed the most restraint at first with a disarming shot to a guy, and then he's the one that Garza happened to chew out because someone boss had seen him and was like, what the fuck is happening? And we talked about this decently. It's because, well, he was like, was it a guy in a suit? No, it's a fucking murderer animatronic. Very Five Nights, yes. It was an arcade. I know what's up. And I talked about this later. You guys did actually, through skill checks, dodge some potential combat encounters. Because you guys all successfully ran away from when the Mall Ninja security came up. So that could have been a confrontation of some kind. And similarly, somebody crit on like handling an employee in the S-Mart. And if that had gone poorly, I can tell you that probably would have resulted in a situation which could have gone tactical.
Not nuclear, thankfully.
No. But still, you did pretty good all around. I'm pretty good with your progress, and you guys have some ideas for what you're doing next time. I gotta remember myself what exactly was talked about when Benoit's reported back to base, but there's some sleeping and not sleeping going on. It's gonna be funny, because Dallas has to crash for 8 hours because he was up all night. Or he has to deal with his minus 20% penalty to everything.
It's gonna be an interesting morning, I definitely think. I'm excited. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, we're still having good vibes and fun times, and I'm excited to show you guys some of the weirder shit. Like, the first 2 episodes are much more like subtle and weird. This episode, I was actually able to bust out like, yeah, some of them are funny, like me describing the weird out of place arcade machine that you had to play to actually like get the thing, you know. That had some weird references in it that was like amusing and eye rolling. But then, you know, when the animatronics, you know, come up off there and basically sprint at you, and you're just like, this is a thing, huh? And I'm like, yeah. Like, we got to get a little weirder and wilder. Which is good, you know, that's what it's about. It's about that build up and stuff, getting in the fun times.
It's always good to get into fun times, but I'm definitely having a problem of where I want things and people are like, but I want the thing. And I'm just like, okay, I should give up the thing, but I still want things. Which is a little weird because I do have things, but again, I got bonked pretty hard. I'm just all like, I really would have liked a laser sword, even if I can't use it the fucking best in that moment. Cause basically there's a situation where we had to get a super cool prize, and we got the super cool prize. This is why we had to actually get into combat, because we decided to get the super cool prize.
Yeah.
And there was a what do we call them? What are they called in that degree? Artifacts, relics?
Yeah, artifact.
Artifact. There was an artifact, and it was a cool artifact, and everyone wanted it. I wanted it too. And we ended up giving it to Marth because Marth is our big combat dude. He's very good at combat.
And if nothing else, as discussed with everybody wanting it, by virtue of the fact that he is the combat guy who has one of the best melee weapon scores, well, we can at least argue that it's optimal for him to have it.
Yes.
I think Dallas's character also ended up with a similar melee weapon score, but he already has a cool sword from last time.
Yeah, but then I was thinking about it, it's like, the only reason we let Dallas have that sword is because he really wanted it, but he really had no reason for wanting it. Like, he hasn't really, like, he was talking about this at the end of the sesh, as he kind of feels regretful that he used the special training for it, because he's much more comfortable with just pulling out his big gun and going bang. Also, the fact that, you know, the Sword of Paracelsus is supposed to be, like an assistant tool for, like, rituals and stuff, but, you know, Dallas doesn't actually know any rituals and whatnot. So it's not taking full use of that artifact as, you know, one would expect. And so that's why I'm thinking about it, because I got my own goodies. Like I said, like I make it a literal point to get my hands on any books like containing rituals and whatnot and stuff. But
yeah,
we actually talked about this. Like I don't treat rituals as my surefire way to solve anything. I treat rituals as a if I can't find a mundane solution to a problem, I will try to resolve it with that. It's a
yes, which is out of character a very healthy way to approach rituals, because I've discussed this. The way the RPG is written, rituals are not ever an optimal strategy.
Yeah.
The game does not want to turn this into you try and collect rituals to solve all your problems, because that's not necessarily thetical to what works. Now, the game even recommends giving you a hypergeometry addiction if you like lose too much sand from hypergeometry and casting rituals and stuff, so that you can like develop a psychological problem. The idea that rituals can solve all your problems, but that's still not like optimal, right?
Yeah.
So like that's a very good way to think of it, because otherwise I suspect some people might get upset that they're like, oh, I want to like, you know, do magic. I'm going to be a sorcerer. No, you're not.
No.
I mean, yeah, you can be, but that's like that's not good enough to be a dedicated role you play, because you have to roll rolls and spend sand and do other stuff. Even in first session, you were very much just like, oh shit, there's I have to kill a small animal to do this ritual, and I'm like, yeah, that's what it says right at the top.
Yeah, and Kara was just like, well, fuck. And then, you know, started looking at Swarm so she can, you know, summon a fucking, maybe a rat. And do that, but, you know, I haven't got that. But, so, like, rituals, while is definitely something that Kara can do, it's not a solution that she can just literally pull out of her pocket.
Okay, hold on, I have to stop you. Axe, don't again me with the metaphors. I am the man with the game, okay? It is magic. But it's also math. It's called rituals for a reason.
I remember I was yelling at Aaron. It's like it's not the actual devil. I'm just like, you don't fucking know that. It could be.
It could be the devil. Yeah, and Garza's point was more to like, probably not actual Satan. You were like, you don't know that. I don't remember. I might have to go back and double check. I think even said I prefer if it wasn't actual Satan. the way Garza works with stuff. But like, if you want to get into like hypergeometry, like absolutely no. It's a rituals are effectively a magic system. You know, they involve ritual phrases, gestures layered with math equations, numbers, shapes, formulas. But the thing with ritualness is like, I mean, that's literally just magic, Axe. You're describing magic. I just don't think you read enough fantasy books. But the kicker for rituals, and I think we've discussed the mechanic before, is like what works for one practitioner does not necessarily work for another practitioner. So you will get these like different tomes will have the same ritual in it, but how they teach it and couch it to you will be different, and then figuring out what the underlying parts you actually need to do the ritual with a capital R are you know, different than some other things.
Some bitch.
So like, and that's why rituals require you know, additional study. Some of them may require you additional sanity because you have to figure out exactly what they mean. Some rituals, as our players have discovered last time, require you to have other skills sufficient enough to understand them. So when you discover consciousness expansion, and I was just straight up like, yeah, don't. I'll give you the GM spoiler. You don't need to try and learn that one because you don't have enough math or physics.
Honestly, I feel like expanding the conscious is one of those dangerous ones that you probably don't want to learn in general.
Oh, it's a great plot hook ritual. As a thing people want to actually like do. No, not really. It's not really good. And that's why I was like, okay, for like storytelling reasons, I want to include it in this list so you guys can kind of figure out what's happening here. You know, solve the puzzle. But I also want to let you guys know out of character, hey, don't try to learn this. It's not. That might, maybe like as a funny character thing later, but like in general, this is not going to be like you get to do something interesting mechanically or get a weird problem-solving trick. But yeah, like you said, while your character knows the most rituals, ritual casting is like, this is a option we have if we cannot interact with things in a mundane way, is we can do some weird ritual things.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same with some of the artifacts you have. It's like most of them are fairly normal. It's just they let you deal with problems in ways that you can't deal with otherwise.
Yeah, like
Some of them in a more portable format than ritualizing.
Yeah, like I have bear gloves. Like I have the nails in the gob, which I finally figured out, or just a little anti-zombie thing, which is nice to have. I really want to like nail them into this staff and use it as a fucking like pole axe. That'd be fun. But it's still one of those things of the items I have are usually for very specific uses for very specific reasons. So anything outside of that, I have to rely on very basic things. I'm starting to realize like, no, I don't like this. Like I said, it's not the smartest thing for me to stand point blank with a fucking, what was it, a marmot?
Yeah.
A magical marmot and try to put bullets into it. But I only have base firearms, and if I didn't have that point blank bonus, I think I would have missed every shot.
Yeah, you would have had to be aiming, or you would have had to had some of the extras you can get, like sights or lasers or stuff.
I do think I need to get some.
Because there's a few things. And hey, if you guys want to load up, I mean, I did put Ed Zombie Supply on the plot track. You may want to go there.
I might go back and see if they have a Mark 23 because and it might be a little chunky, but integral fucking laser sight and suppressor, it gives me life. It's laser sight and suppressor, right?
Yeah, and I also think technically it's got a light module as well.
Really? Holy shit.
Yeah, it's why it was so fucking heavy and boxy. I think it has laser, flashlight, and suppressor, which is not integral, but the barrel is threaded and it comes with the suppressor package. Purchasing that would be restricted, which means you would not be able to do that in a timely manner, but you can always get in there.
I am seriously thinking about picking up special training black markets.
Yeah, so you can pick up some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You've also talked about getting yourself a P90 or some other SMG or PDW type weapon to give yourself a little more firepower. Yeah, because that's the thing. I don't want to because that's the thing about having characters and loadouts. I don't want to just strap myself down with ungodly amount of weaponry because my character's supposed to be a scientist. She's with the CDC. She shouldn't be carrying full tactical loadouts should not be her job. No, you've got you literally have a character for that. You have a special operator who, for some ungodly reason, the game is like, here is the best gun, take it. Take it. But here's your one gun with all goodies. But as I realized, fighting literally getting my ass beat with a staff. Yeah. It's technically a generic damage profile, but the damage you were taking was basically equivalent to if you were being hit with a baseball bat or something anyway. Yeah. So thank you, Kevlar Vest. You kept me alive. Yeah. But and you're the medic, so yeah, the healer. So if you go down, and as discussed later, after you had to go hide out in McDonald's and put some ice on your wounds, and the rest of the squad ran into a medical emergency, we're like, fuck, we have no idea what we're doing. Shit. But it's one of those things of I know you were talking about it, you put a lot of extra goodies in this thing. You actually said you went less on the tombs and went more with neat stuff. Yeah. And I don't want to telegraph it too much, but if you feel you in particular are, as Kara or as Lucky, are hankering a little bit for a little special something, I will say we have not hit that yet. I have written stuff in that because I think you were one of the characters with the most concrete and actionable backstory and personality I can work with. I've got some little tchotchkes specifically written for your character. I'm excited about that. Honestly, when you said there was the dream therapy locations, fuck yeah, I'm gonna call it. If I have night terrors, I'm just gonna fucking call it because it didn't do anything mechanically, but it was just I was explaining Kara feels better because even though she didn't actually talk to anyone, I just punched him in the butt. But she was able to say something to somebody and it's not have this entire fucking problem because I am trying to what's the word I want to use? I'm trying to portray
Kara as someone very determined but cynical, I think is the way I want to put it. Like, do you get that impression out of her?
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw it a little bit because when you decided to hang out with Wellerman, the ATF medic you rescued. She has a very similar personality type. I wrote in. She's like, she used to be all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, but she's been, doing tactical response stuff in the War on Terror for 20 years basically, or maybe 15. I have to double check. Our timeline is also ambiguous for reasons.
Space.
But like. Yeah, and I it seemed very natural that you talked to her and actually spent some time with her, and you guys seem to, I don't know if get along is the right word, because everybody's a little cynical and a little grouchy, but like there was some conversation back and forth, and it didn't felt like either of you got on each other's nerves. Whereas there were a couple of things that were brought up by other members of the party that Weller was definitely like, what?
I'm going.
See, you guys are weirdos. And interestingly enough, she even compared, one of the other team members. You're pretty sure some things happened to Inoue, the NSA specialist, were like, yeah, she was always weird. Which is, I think, the other way a character like what you've done with Kara could go. But I honestly think Inoue is probably closest in personality to how Dallas portrays Professor Mormo as, like, the team weirdo. Like, Kara's strange, but very functional. Like, when push comes to shove, you're like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I'll fix you up. You're injured.
I think that, I think I said this in the session. Kara's mad, but not insane.
Yeah. And I don't know if Mormo is really insane either, but he's definitely, like, he's jumpier. He's a little more nervous. He's got kind of a different perspective, he plays up being the crotchety old man kind of a thing a little bit. Obviously, Inoue wasn't, like, older or anything, but she was, like, the weird out-of-the-blue specialist because she's an NSA cryptanalyst, so she is, like, a big number nerd. And as you can see, that got her places in life. Places. But, she seemed like she was a little bit of a standout even in her own team. And if you guys can, figure out more about Owens and, I'm trying to remember, it was Carter. I don't remember her first name off the top of my head without looking at my notes. It's been a little while since you guys looked her up. But, as you guys dig into more of them, you might see some more, like, different role or similarities. But there's some, flexibility in everything. Yes. I think most of our characters are kind of, rendered up.
Oh, excuse me. And
that's I think we talked about this before, Axe. I actually see Benowitz as kind of our middleman's not the right word, but Benowitz is kind of our center point in terms of the character dispositions. Like, especially because as we've remarked on, your character does have quite a pretty good sanity score. Like you really have done very well. I think I'm gonna have to make sure I roll for you more on sand recovery. And hope that my dice fuck up. But you have a quite high sand, despite being interested in the unnatural. So, you're pretty stable and good at, like, rationalizing things or, comparing them to weird genre fiction as a form of rationalization. He has not yet hit his point where he's realized, bad where things are, this is too much like fiction or whatever. Well, guess what? You don't get to pick, so I will absolutely be rolling your sand up and down. You always know I'm an impartial arbiter. Your fates are safe in my hands and my dice.
Yeah, honestly, Axe, again, I'm just gonna say this. If you don't want the GM rolling your dice, that means that you want to fudge your dice. Like, I'm just gonna straight out fucking say it. Because
listen, Lucky was the least sandy of anybody in the squad. I was actually a little concerned last time. You had to go burn some books.
Yeah.
Legion, technically. But,
yeah.
Like, I roll your sand loss, which you take a lot of, and hey, sometimes that D4 a 1, sometimes that D4 a 4.
That's how it be.
And it cuts both ways, and then it is how it is. You gotta take your lumps. Well, guess what? You gotta take your lumps, Axe. I know you were typing that as I was saying that with the lag, but you know, it'd be how it would.
Did I finish for
I'm always in there. Let me finish out my nice zinc D4.
And honestly, believe it or not, like, again, like, I don't trust Dicebot, because I swear to God, Dicebot will actually just try to fucking shank you.
Well, computers are weird.
Yeah. I need 2 more.
Just discovered where I had a piece of black foam, and I was like, where the fuck did this come from? It came from the top of my dice lid. That's where it was. I'm like, ah! It fell out. I was using that as a roll tray. It must have gotten loose when I knocked something over. It's another 2. 2 in a row. That's pretty average. That's the third 2. You go right D4? That's 4. That's 3. It's evening. It's another 2.
Alright, there we go. That's
3, 1. Yeah, seems fine.
alright, cool.
ちょっと物足りないかな。
この調子で進むぞ。
Yeah, that's... I mean, that's... The problem is specific analogies are not analogous sometimes. And I know you don't want to be unhelpful, but they're definitely... Too specific an analogy just makes us go, what? What's this reference?
I think
really
that...
don't want to bog down too much and explain it.
Yeah, remember
But
when
as
we...
long as you know that you are struggling and trying to figure it out, that's better than not knowing, I think.
Whoops.
But as I was saying earlier, I do think, like, in different ways, but Kara and Mormo are kind of our, like, zany, you know, characters. I don't know that Kara's really zany, but, like, she will occasionally have weird non sequiturs, and, you know, she has this approach to, like, documentation of the unnatural and all that kind of stuff, you know.
Listen, Kara's digital grammar is a very, very scary vector. It has the notes for three cases right now, and many transcriptions of the tomes we found in there, with rituals.
Yeah.
That falls into the wrong head. Some people are fucked. A lot of people are fucked, maybe.
And Mormo is kind of, like I said, like a standout. Like, he has his own, you know, very specific specialties and things he does. He kind of sometimes goes off on his own to do things because, you know, that fits his characterization of, like, you know, he's a weird old guy. He's not going to enjoy the arcade, you know? Stuff like that. And then...
Wait, can I get
honestly,
rid of that
characters
one?
like Garza and Holland are kind of our, you know, more Mundy side of things. Like, Garza's obviously a little more talkative, a little more like investigative than Bart's character Holland, because, you know, Garza's a federal agent. Yeah, I said I don't think you're quite the Mulder yet, because Mulder's a real weirdo. If you haven't watched X-Files in a while, he's very goobus. Of course, lizard people are real. It's a fat vampire, Scully. Why wouldn't it be? You know, shapeshifters are well attested. Like you said, I don't know if you have the personally have the energy to be that Muldery, but it definitely feels kind of like the character angle you've got. You are the FBI agent, and you're just like, fuck it, anything could be true. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. Could it be that? I don't know. Do I want to ask about that? Probably. And something we did off mic actually was I looked at because the game actually has, like, role-playing notes for most agencies that we play from, because we're not playing from anything like custom or anything. So if you read those notes, you can actually, like, get a read. And I do actually think so far all of our players are actually, like, following kind of those ethos, like it talked about, like, what the, you know, what CDC. Well, if you're in the CDC, you probably joined to be at the cutting edge of medical science and deal with real shit, like, you know, infectious diseases, toxic chemicals, that kind of stuff. And so, you know, eager for field work and, you know, getting in there in science and exploring everying. Well, it sounds like Kara, you know? Mm-hmm. Like you said, she is a little jaded, but also still got plenty of, you know, plenty of, like, vibe to get out there and, you know, check stuff. FBI are, you know, very procedural, very meticulous. They take everything, you know, one step at a time. Every step has an individual procedure because they're a very big agency with a lot of scrutiny on them. They're very famous, which kind of fits, you know, Benowitz's structure is kind of like, yeah, so, okay, we'll totally encapsulate this part of the task at one time, and then we'll move on to encapsulating the next part. What are we dealing with here? What can we do about that kind of a thing? Sometimes it feels like, you know, he's a little too detail-oriented for the other players, but that does seem to kind of fit the vibe. You know, DEA are all about, like, whatchamacallit, like footwork and approaching the cases, a lot of pounding the pavement kind of stuff. You know, results-oriented seem to fit, like, what Iron has done so far with Garza. So, like, I think it's all working out. I know sometimes the various players, like, almost everybody, I think, has had a moment of where they're like, I don't know, sometimes I feel like I had a little hard time, you know, doing the character this session, or I want to, you know, double-check with everybody that I'm not, like, you know, throwing anybody off. But I think overall the chemistry is fine. Like, I think all the characters are fine. The main thing is making sure everybody kind of feels like they have has a functional niche.
Damn it, I meant that.
Like they feel like their skills are rewarded. I think the only one where we have a little bit of confusion is with our two characters who started with the same federal agent template. Though even then, like, I know Garza has leaned a little more into, like, pharmacy and chemistry and some other sciences, and obviously he has hard cooking, which is very funny. Not very relevant, but funny. And who knows, that could possibly come up.
That's one of the things I complain about. There's so many sciences and skills that it's just like, does anyone have math? Everyone's like, no. Physics? Mormo has it.
Yeah, I kind of wish they'd done a little bit better. Like, I personally like field skills for, like, role-playing and opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, honestly, the system that did this best was Eclipse Phase First Edition, where they were straight up like, yeah, we're gonna split out your whole, like, science, art, all that shit. All that falls under knowledge skills. We're gonna split that into a separate block of your skill points. You have so many skill points that only go to knowledge skills, writing your own shit. And even in, like, packages and life path systems, they still, like, made sure that there was a certain balance of active skills to knowledge skills. I kind of wish Delta Green had kind of learned that lesson a little bit. Like, obviously, you don't want to have everybody be, like, a polymath or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's definitely hit the point of where it's like, do any of you have any fucking art skills? And, like, yeah, a couple, you know.
Does anyone have crafts? Does anyone have sciences? Does anyone have, like, what are languages? And people were just kind of like,
Language, at least they did some, like, some writing to be like, translation and stuff does exist, so you can, if it's not like a really obscure language or you're trying to do something like right now in the field, you can probably get some translating. But yeah, with the way bonus skills are distributed, the science stuff is sometimes a little weird. And obviously I can throw you guys a bone occasionally with various skill gains and stuff. And obviously, you know, with 0% defaults in most of those skills, you can fail them pretty easily by engaging with clues and being like, I don't fucking know. But it is some, you know, we're playing a decent amount of sessions into the system. We've noticed some of this stuff. We've talked before about how some of the ways home actions were handled kind of rubbed us the wrong way initially, but the errata at least made that more efficient. And I don't know if operations are supposed to be, like, even shorter. Like, should we be doing a whole operation, you know, every session and then take a break, maybe? I don't know, but...
Again, I feel like this is the problem. Again, this is with the mixed feelings you get from Delta Green of, like, it doesn't, like, it's not necessarily something built necessarily for... It is built for campaign play over long break, but at the same time, it's not.
Yeah, and there's certainly aspects of, you know, it's meant to be playable so you can cycle agents in and out as they go crazy and die, which hasn't happened to us yet, but probably will eventually. Like, you know, we've seen with the bonketing and stuff. Like, there's some bad news bears things that can happen. So it's the kind of, like, up and downs of the pacing are a little weird. And I will obviously, you know, like I talked about this time, like, I tried to make a more focus on, like, interacting with weird objects and artifacts and, like, making those the things that are, like, both plot items and also, like, the things that can give you the tools to overcome. I did obviously have an alternate, like you have found one of the major sources of like unnatural lore that you can work off for like a new version of like Closing the Breach. That may be plot relevant, you know.
Yeah.
But also, you know, you got that at the same place you got the laser sword in Inoe's Razor. I can divide by 0. Your argument is invalid. Everybody got a chuckle out of that one. That will also be useful for some direct problem solving, so long as you're willing to cough up 3 willpower and 1 sanity every time. Or you string your problems together so you can get them all within the time limit of however much juice it uses. You know, stuff like that. So, as always, very excited to get to more stuff. And, you know, as I run games and write games, I, you know, learn lessons about how to shake stuff out and how to do things for you guys. And there's certainly a lot of opportunities for growth, like literally every session. If you fail a skill check, you roll. But depending on what you guys are doing and what you get into, you might not get a lot of failures. I think you said you didn't have any check marks last time?
Yeah, no. Like I said, because I forget about this sometimes, but if I'm not good at something, I don't necessarily force myself to do it, because usually there is someone in the group who is good at that, and I don't want to be just, like, rolling for rolling's sake is not something necessarily that's really well wanted for me. I was like, because
I don't think the rules are... Delta Green's not necessarily meant to be that. They literally have a rule where it's just like, give them core clues that they have shitloads of skill points. So, because I don't think you're meant to be rolling for randomness. I think it's the failure on improvement roll is more to make up for the fact that, like, there was a situation where you were far away and they were trying to tackle first aid shit, and some of them were like, well, I'll try and figure out what's going on because I am actively in character concerned about this situation right now, but I'm probably going to fuck it up. Oh, yeah, I fucked it up. Well, I'll mark it for later. Like, I don't think those guys were trying to step on, like, ooh, Kara's not here, let's step on our toes. It was like, ah, shit, Kara's not here. Can any of us succeed at that, you know, to make sure nothing horrible happens until we come get her?
Yeah, no, like I wasn't trying to say like they were trying to like one-up me, but it's the fact that if I'm in a group and like there's a check that, you know, everyone can do, if there's people that are better than me at me, like, you know, someone's rolling like a 60 to 80 in it, and I only got like, you know, the base 10, there's like almost no reason for me to roll, because guess what? We're just gonna automatically get the clues. There was no rolling involved in the first place. And if I roll, that slows things down.
Yeah, even a little bit. Like, and I've said before, you know, if you guys have, you know, have scores in some things that aren't good, you know, be sure to let me know if you want to try and take a crack at it rolling or something. Or roll even if you have a high percentage to try and get some stuff done quickly, and some things require rolls. I was actually going over the vehicular rules, and there's actually kind of interesting thing where vehicles are very simple in this. They have an HP pool, an armor rating, and a speed rating. Which really should be maneuverability, but they wrote it speed, so I won't fight them on it. It's what the game calls it. And basically, vehicles are average, fast, or slow. Fast, you get a +20 on rolls to drive or pilot them. Slow, you get a -20. And average, you get no bonus. Jets are special, because the only thing that can outrun a jet is another jet. But if a vehicle is below half its health pool, you have to make rolls to drive or pilot it. You can't just cruise, no matter. So even if you are driving something that's like a flat road in the middle of the day, you know, sun in the sky, you still have to roll because your car is in a bad shape, right? That's kind of an interesting approach, and I should remember that for kind of like some other things to like give you guys opportunities to roll for stuff, because sometimes failure can be interesting. But also, I've learned a lot from a lot of different RPGs. Sometimes failure isn't interesting. We should not bother with rolls for that unless it could actually matter. You know. So yeah, like, and like I said, I can take my cracks at like trying to make you guys feel a little more comfortable with your different specializations or options for improvement and stuff. And overall, I think everything is kind of good. I mean, it's not about failing forward, Axe. I know you have a lot of your own baggage with failing forward. It's just the fail state should be something changes. L5R is a great example of this. They talk about, especially because of the way that the dice in that are loaded. Don't roll, you know, don't roll if failure isn't interesting and failure isn't different than succeeding, basically. So in my mind, I take that approach to a lot of games, and I think some other games have some advice about this. But basically, rolling the dice, is important. It slows the game down. It has results. If failure doesn't mean something, don't roll it. So, for instance, let's say, go back to like Moonrat, I think I had, Benowitz make like a dex roll or something, or maybe an athletics roll to walk through the burned up section that was unstable. Failure means you are at risk. Success, you will be able to move safely through here. You'll be able to look to see if there were any clues. Obviously, there weren't really, but there was still some extra information and block it off. If you fail, you have fallen through and you take some damage. If it was just failure, oops, you fell through, you can't explore, it's blocked, that's not worth it, right? I wouldn't have done that. Because then it's just like, if there's nothing there at all, just make it blocked off and not matter. And that's why the game is like, Delta Green is like, if they have a high enough base rating in a skill, just give them the core clues, because if you roll everything, even if you have an 80%, well, that means 1 in 5 times you still fuck it up and you don't get the clue, and then we gotta fucking sit around here with our, thumb in our ass for 20 minutes or 4 hours, as the whole session grinds to a halt. So it's the kind of thing where I think this game system has a pretty good balance of differences in there. And as I get into it, I'm learning more and more about things. And I certainly, as I start to work through the non-weapon parts of the armory and look at how they treat, gear and goods and services and stuff, I might even have my own ideas for different things we can do, right? Oh, God, that's just... I mean, some game systems are like that, but goddamn, that's just Mr. GM. Yeah, regrets not, thinking that you have to roll for everything. That's a lesson a lot of GMs have to learn, is that, hey... And this is, I think, why a lot of games have those statements. Like I said, L5R has this. I think Genesis has it. Delta Green even has it. Don't roll dice for nothing. Does it matter if they go for groceries? No, but if it says if they fail the driving rule, they're going to, fuck up and crash. Well, then don't roll on the way to the groceries. Obviously, some game tones, that works. Especially, comedic games or more pulpy games. You can kind of, turn failure into your drive of action. But for Delta Green, I don't give a shit if you guys are driving to the fucking grocery store. That doesn't matter. Unless, something otherwise freaky is happening where it does matter. But even then, that's, different. But yeah, I've been looking away at the document. I remember, earlier because of your fight, one of the other things you were talking about was not necessarily an artifact. You were like, man, can I get a riot shield or something? And I was like, hold on, I'll check. And despite the fact that SWAT teams and special operators do get riot shields listed in their gear, the Delta Green RPG doesn't explain what that means.
Thanks.
I understand page space is at a premium, guys, and I understand that you probably just data dumped a copy paste of what some agency press release told you was standard kit. Please don't put shit in there unless you explain how it works, because it's meaningless then. So I had to kit bash some ideas for shields. By doing research, I was able to discover there is actually a very clear definition here. There are both what are commonly considered or called riot shields. Those are the clear plastic or polymer model. You usually see them with police on them. Those are designed to be resistant to blunt impacts and blades. So I treated that like the riot helmet, which already existed in the game, which they give you additional armor, but only against certain kinds of attacks because they're not really rated to stand up to bullets. And some of them can also be formatted with an electroshock, like a stun gun. So that's, pretty typical. The other thing is what are actually called ballistic shields. Those tend to be actually made of metal or ceramics or higher-end polymers, which are actually designed to stop a lot of conventional bullets. They usually have a very small window so you can actually see through because they're not transparent. Some of them can come with giant floodlights on them. Funnily enough, given this conversation, where the conversation in our Discord actually started, that is actually one of the special operator powers of a character in Rainbow Six Siege, is he has a shield that blinds people. But Yeah, so for ballistic shields, I think the best way to cover that is basically there is a cover system. It's actually quite good. You get your whatever the rating of cover you're behind added to your armor against attacks. And it is one of the few ways you can protect yourself from ranged attacks. If you are near cover or behind cover, you can roll dodge. Cover unilaterally protects you from lethality ratings. You cannot be instant killed if you're behind cover. You can still be suppressed, but you can't instant kill. It just automatically makes it fail. And it reduces the damage, and it stacks with your armor. Cover is great. Remember this if you ever get into a shootout. You want to be in cover. Cover is good. But that made me perceive them like, okay, so ballistic shields are basically like cover you can carry with you. You need to use a hand to carry them. You can only use one-handed weapons. But if you have a shield and you're pointing it in the direction you're being shot, or you can roll dodge to basically make sure you put the cover between you and them, it adds on top of whatever your armor is. So that's, can be decently good, fairly spiced. And if you wanted to go that route, could resolve, some of the issues, Kara's had in the past, getting beaten up by all kinds of unnatural critters. And just a good add-on, and didn't, I think, overcomplicate things too much.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, I want to dip through. I have actually, you guys also, especially with the way the mall ninjas are acted, we're discussing some, less lethal options, so I am glad that I actually did, get electroshock and riot gear and stuff, and stun grenades and whatever in there. I don't remember if I talked about it, but I did add a decent variety of, because I think that was all the same table. Let me double check. So I don't think I brought this up yet, but I believe I did, what did I call it? Thrown weapons and explosives?
I haven't heard of this.
Yeah, grenade. It's called the grenades and explosives. So yeah, I did actually list hand grenade, other throwing stuff, and place explosive with demolition. So I didn't do that. There's also a riot and stun weapons, which you guys already looked at. And you did actually talk back and forth about maybe getting some tear gas or pepper spray. You actually Kara actually has some pharmacy and some chemistry, so. I joked, oh, is she going to start growing ghost peppers at home? Get some extra capsaicin. But I think I've got most of the weapon categories. There probably should be vehicle-mounted weapons for, the heavy shit, but that's not really required right now. The situation that'll call for you guys to, roll up in a Humvee with a Mark 40, the, 40mm grenade machine gun are probably few and far between. And also a bad time.
I feel like that's going to be an off-road adventure as we're, fucking Tremors almost, going through the desert with fucking, worms just screaming after us.
Yeah. That's definitely, an extreme situation that we'd have plenty of build-up for, so I could do the stats separately. But, a variety of things like, how much does what are the stats on a block of C4 kind of a thing. And I even wrote, my own, because God forbid, I don't know why they did this, but I, put a Molotov cocktail in there. It's handheld flamethrower, but you throw it. You literally throw it, so it's got 20 meters of use athletics kind of thing, but it's the same, lethality rating and shit. A couple of different, funny things. M18 Claymore mines kind of stuff. But I started on, after armor, I started on vehicles. At first, I was, gonna do a whole setup list where I actually, looked at a lot of models for, different common military and police vehicles. But then I was like, nah, it's stupid. We're gonna be here forever. I'll transpose the list that's actually in the book. I'll add a little detail, because some of them have, ranges of, sedan is, 25 to 30 HP. So it's okay, so clearly a mid-size sedan is, 25 HP. A full-size sedan is, 30 HP. Done. For some reason, stats on vans, even though vans are actually a fairly commonly issued police vehicle. SWAT use vans to transport officers, prisoner transport. The FBI has a lot of surveillance equipment vans, stuff like that. So I, eyeballed van stats.
Oh, they didn't have vans to begin with?
No, I did not have vans. They have SUV, armored SUV, pickup truck is the same rough zone as an SUV. They did have semi-truck. They called it Humvee, but basically a light utility vehicle, kind of stat line, armored, light vehicles, APC, MRAP, and I'm like, okay, I get what you're going for. I don't know why the fuck we put, turn of the century tank on this list. Are you guys gonna steal Cold War tanks? I mean, I guess there's some overseas stuff, They did even write some adventures that are set in, like, Syria and things, or have interactions with, like, the Iraq War or Afghanistan. So, like, I guess there's a reason for that, but it's not. It's they also don't. I don't know if this is a printing error or not. They don't, like, call any of these restricted, and I'm like, that's not true though. You listen, America's crazy. You can't buy an M1A1 Abrams yet. So that does remind me of that funny Russian Badger bit about how he was like, listen, if you just canceled Medicare, you could afford to give every household an M1 Abrams tank. But, like, I just put a note that military and police vehicles are usually restricted. And then what I'm going to do, and what I was in the middle of doing before we scheduled the stream to go, was I will just write down the names of popular models of car that are often converted to police and government vehicles. So that if you guys really want that kind of pocket lint, you can be like, why, yes, I am driving a Chevy Tahoe Pursuit.
Yeah, sometimes it's the pocket lint manners.
Oh yeah, no, and it's cool, and there's, like, some different variants, and technically some of them should actually, like, having actually done a little bit of research on this, some of the actual, like, what they call fleet vehicles, like the kind of police and government offerings, do have additional features, like, like, I think it's the Dodge Charger Pursuit model, like, has, the biggest engines they can put in a Charger, better brake quality, usually comes with, like, computer screens and stuff for digital, like, utility inference and things. So, like, there's some wiggle room where, like, that could matter. Mechanically, like, maybe even count a vehicle as, like, fast that's only average or something. And it goes the same way. There are actually rules for, like, junk items that have a greater botch range and stuff. So, there's things we could apply to, like, lemons or old beat up shit. So there's a little bit of wiggle room. But yeah, I was just like, fuck it, I'll write down some names of stuff, and you can, if you guys really want to get in there. I'll also do the sea and air vehicles and maybe find some expansion there. It's very funny because I know Marth has pilot's boat or sea or whatever. It never comes up. I'll figure it out someday. But as I want to, for what started as just like a way to collect a lot of common, like, weapon types, I also wanted it to always include gear and stuff, and maybe even, like, eyeball capabilities and costs for things that aren't listed, because we realized this, through Starcourt, that, like, I don't think that Delta Green, the Agent's Handbook, actually has, like, price points on, like, cameras and stuff.
Yeah.
Directional mics are in there, but I don't think, like, I didn't remember seeing videos of video camcorders or shit like that. Maybe digital, like, still cameras in the list? I have to double check. But, like, Dallas wanted a lot of, like, cameras and stuff for equipment, and I'm like, shit, I don't think we got a good list for this. Fine, fuck it, I don't care. You can get some cameras.
Boom.
You're a park ranger. But, like, I'd like to actually get in there and talk about it, and, like, some of those actually matter. Like, I do believe most modern camcorders do come with, like, night shot, for instance, low light mode, which might matter for when you get outlasted. Stuff like that. So there's some room there for some improvement, and certainly with the way they work with some of my I mean, it's not necessarily too fantastical, but I did deliberately go out of my way. I wanted to not go directly into, you die in the game, you die in real life. Game over, man.
Get some light cycles on, yo.
I think it was, well, it's funny, Tron was in there.
Oh, yeah.
Classic Tron arcade game. I do think you guys had a surreal enough time playing the game, seeing it be weird, and then also, like, holy shit, the, shitty Chuck E. Cheese animatronics tried to kill us.
Yeah,
There's that a big Band-Aid on her forehead because of it. Like I said, I kind of want to, for Starcourt, I really want to make sure to keep blending the real with the unreal, like to hit that surreal level where you're like, okay, so yeah, we're just playing an arcade game, but also this is a weirdly specific arcade game that's got some very interesting things in it. And then, oh shit, those animatronic brandings, these like I said, Chuck E. Cheese knockoffs came to life and tried to shank us. That's not normal. These mall ninjas look like normal humans, but they're carrying, high-class tactical SWAT weaponry. That's weird. Anyway.
There is a lot of that's weird going on.
Yeah. And, like, finding out what's just normal weirdness and then is actually, like, actionable intelligence is, it's part of the whole thing. And I you guys got your theory crafting and your guesses, some of which are correct, some of which are not. It's gonna be a good time. We'll get into it. Like I said, if you guys are interested in following along with this, they're very dense. Like this one also got to like 4 hours, just cycling through everybody's stuff and general plot discussion. So that'll be up tomorrow for public. We hit about 3 hours. Lucky you said you didn't really do a lot to talk about this week.
No. Like I said, all I really did was a bunch of reading. I finished the Cradle series, and now I'm on the Defiance of the Fall series. And I read Beware of Chip. And actually, no, I think I talked about the. Yeah, no, I talked about that already.
Yeah. I need to be doing more reading or something, but I haven't quite found the perfect time because I'm juggling some project and stuff. I got a new fiction idea niggling at the back of my mind. I'm trying to take shape.
I kind of do too, but I am excited to say that I did finally spot Nona the Ninth on Audible.com. So I'm like, yes,
nice.
I am excited about it.
And do you believe that? Yeah, very soon. Next week, the next edition will come out. 7th. That's another one that'll be a big old jump in.
I still haven't read the second one, but I've been debating if I want to get the audiobook or not. I do just like audiobooks.
Reminds me, I was recently reminded of just randomly of a personal favorite old series of mine, the Cat Who Mysteries.
Oh, yeah.
By the now deceased Lillian Jackson Braun. But there's a lot of them. She got to like 29. We usually ignore the 29th book. That was kind of weird and upset a lot of apple carts with the overall status quo. But it's to give you guys a rough pitch, the bulk of the series, the first like 3 or 4 books are set like in a urban 60s mystery stuff, but the later books are very much the like rural cozy mystery type stuff. Our main character, James Quillerin with a QW, has some Siamese cats. Well, he's been a huge fan of Siamese cats, probably because of this book series. One of whom is definitely psychic. Don't listen to him when he tries to tell you it could be a coincidence. That cat is fucking got psychic powers. Don't you lie to me. But murder happens in the sleepy region of Moose County, which is 400 miles north of everywhere. Literally never committed to where it is. I've always kind of assumed, like, because they mentioned, like, a lake and stuff, like Minnesota or Upper Michigan or something.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's oop north somewhere. And then he just kind of, slowly solves the crime, figures out stuff. I recently read like a lot of like rough plot synopses of each book, and I'm like, man, there's a lot of inheritance crimes going on. A lot of people who end up getting killed to get inheritances, or killed so they don't get inheritances, or because they're mad about their inheritance. But it's kind of like a cozy rural mystery, so it makes sense. And I'm like, if I were to go dive back into that series, I would have to dig up the audiobooks because I listened to them as a young lad. Because while they are, like, obviously some heavy stuff can happen because it involves murder, there's, like, when I was a child, it was like, okay with my parents because there wasn't a lot of, like, heavy-duty on-screen violence, There's, you know, not like a lot of explicit sex or cursing or anything. So it's like, it's, you know, very, very comfy read and not too heavy if you're a kid kind of a thing.
Oh yeah.
But I listen to those in audio format by recorded books by, I believe, the reader's name is George Woodell, and he has a very good, firm voice for this that I strongly associate with this series. So I was like, yeah, I'd have to dig up the audiobook somewhere. I think he's done some stuff on Audible as well, in addition to through recorded books, and where I think Audible offers recorded books as products. So I should go see if I can dig those up at some point to kill time. But I would need something to kill time on, so I don't know. Maybe when I can become a stray cat.
I think you should probably I still think you should pull out Flora Linden to 40 Flight Tower. It's only a short story. And it's very good.
Yeah, that one I can probably squeak in while doing something else for sure. I'll pull it up on my phone sometime. But yeah, you know, books is books. We got books to do. We'll read more books and talk to you about books.
Yeah.
Ugh. But we have been doing this for like 3 hours now. Don't have any additional juice. We scratch the stuff off my list. I'm ready to roll it in and set this up for export and stuff.
Yeah, I'm done.
Alrighty, well, let us do the outro then.
Do it.
I see people have tapered off a little bit through this last bit of the conversation as well. Hey, so if you're watching this video on YouTube, be sure to give it a like if you liked it. If you have any comments, you can leave in the comment section down below, and live chat and all that other fun stuff. You can also hit up our Discord. The link is always on the video description and on our channel page. You can go check it out. If you're new here and haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. Oh, we made it to 3095. Mentioned, you know, Fail Betrayal, the Yu-Gi-Oh thing I do with the Goop Troop. If we get to 3100, I'm committed to doing the Dimension Dragons. So, you know, very close now if you want to make me suffer for long periods of time and get extra content.
Sorry, I was getting a stretching.
Yeah, sorry, I was confused by something because I was looking at our channel dashboard to check the subs.
Subs.
But they're there, so, you know, give us the subs. Only 5 left for that milestone. If we continue to get more subs, I will continue to think of more random bullshit. Go. Celebrate. You can also make sure to ring that bell for notifications so you always know when we post a new video or when we stream. You know, if you turn it on and make sure to set it to all, it should hopefully give you a timely ringle-dingle, jingle-jangle when we get started on any streams, you know. So when we have unusual streaming schedules or other stuff, you can catch up to us and you know when we're actually going live. Cutscene. Super City. Fucking Zeppelin, man. How do they work? But you can also join our channel membership, get access to membership badges and emotes, help support us. And like I said at the front of the show, you can also support us on Patreon, get access to topic polls, get access to videos early. You know, listen to us record some shows live, get on our shoutouts, etc. Audio version is our lowest tier for as little as $1 a month or $10 a year-ish. The year is not ish, the $10 is ish. Sorry, that was grammatically unclear. But you can get access to our audio downloads as well, which includes this and our Let's Talk FGO show as well. So, yeah. That's about it.
慎重に行くぞお前ら。そうね。
目指すはあそこに見えているこの絵の王
So,
城
see everyone later.
Bye, everybody.